Hello and welcome to another fabulous night with the American Ricci Mahjong League. I am Ennui, and I am joined tonight by none other than the Edwin. How are you doing tonight, Edwin?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready for a second straight night of Mahjong commentary. Been busy with work, haven't been able to do it much. So it's very exciting to get on here again. And oh my God, these hands right out of the gate, especially Jeff, our first dealer here, with the pair of Chun and the wonderful Peen shape. And then on the right as well, Robert with a fantastic hand to start.
Yeah, everybody except for Robert has Yakuhai to call, and there's a Dora draw for dealer Jeff there. So they're sitting Ishan 10 right now. Probably would prefer to got that 4-7 pin, because if they have to declare Vici waiting on that's gonna be a harder weight to get. But they're already sitting Ishan 10 as it stands. Could have even considered switching to a Pinfu shape by keeping that 3-mon, but wants to keep the quick Ishan 10.
Yeah, tossing the West, I feel like could have been a pretty good call there. Like your Ishan 10 so early, you don't really need a safe tile. Like it's kind of just in the way.
Yeah.
We do have a call already of the Seat Wind West from Jacob, who is our toyman at the moment.
And Gaetano actually passed on the Haku when it was discarded as well. So they feel comfortable sticking with a slower hand here. And see, there's the 5-mon draw right there. And so you could have looked for a Pinfu shape had you discarded the West. You could have actually discarded the two Red Dragons or the two Chuns and possibly gone for like a Ricci Pinfu Dora 1 at least. And had a better way to go along with it.
And it wouldn't be overly difficult to incorporate a second Dora if you did that.
Yep.
All right, now the West comes out, taking the... Well, I mean, it's still not a perfect Ishan 10.
I don't know.
See, we have 3 pairs.
In this case, I don't know if I necessarily would like this, because you're probably going to have to get rid of the 5 anyways, right? Unless you somehow magically like go to some type of Tanya shape, but you've already pitched the 3-so on the lower Sozu side, and you already pitched the 3-5 on the Monzu side. Like, what else are you going to gain out of it by keeping the 5?
Yeah, and having to discard that 5 pin later could be so dangerous.
Exactly.
We do see Tempai across the way on 1-mon, 9-mon for Jacob. And Jacob has the 5 pin in the discard. So
well, that's Shanta too. So you're looking at Yakuhai Shanta for 2000.
I didn't
somehow,
even...
Well, they discarded the Dora though. That's the thing. They could have been waiting on the 3. Now they win. They get the sumo. So they get 26. They get 2700. It technically could have been more, but they wouldn't have won at that point in time. So you know what? Take what you can get.
I missed the timing. I do believe that the so they had 6, 7, 8 in hand, and they cheated the 9-so. So I'm wondering if they were forced to drop the 2-mon when they called that chi, since sliding's not allowed.
Well, you could have discarded the 1-mon anyways, right? Because if you had the 1-1-2 shape,
that's true.
You could have discarded the 1. So
yeah,
I think in that case, maybe they were just thinking that a 1-9 might be a little bit more, especially for the 9, for it to come out, because if you're waiting for just the 3, it's adjacent to Dora, and maybe people won't discard it. So if they're thinking about it that way, then discarding the 2-mon and making the hand a little cheaper, but to increase the possibility of you getting like half of your tiles, the 9-mon, might make some sense.
Well, they did just sumo, so it worked out for them, and now we have Robert as our dealer. This hand's okay, but I mean, we're just now getting to like a decent 3 Shanten, because we do have 1, 2, 3, yeah, like a decent 3 Shanten, sort of, and it's the end of the first row, so kind of lagging behind here. Jacob on the right, once again, has a good hand, but has not been able to call any of the Yakuhai.
Hasn't been able to call the Yakuhai, but I mean, if they somehow get Dora or something like that, you should discard the North at that point if you want it. No, okay, I guess the North's not your wind. I thought maybe you want to keep the Chun in case you wanted to keep the possibility of like a remote Shosangen open, but all the Chuns end up going straight afterwards, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, the Chuns were already gone.
Well, no, they weren't gone at the time. Only one of them had. Only one of them.
Oh, the other 2 followed. I see.
The other 2 followed. What I was going to get at with Jacob, though, is that they do have a possibility of some type of like Chanta-ish hand, a little less so now that they're drawn the 4-so, because they have the 7-8-9 possibility on the Monzu and the Pinzu. It would be more fortunate if somehow they had gotten like the 1-so, the Dora, along the way, but they're going to go Otozuke now, calling that 7-8-9, and they are. It looks like.
We mentioned this last night. I would not consider this Otozuke because even if they don't get the Yakuhai before their Tenpai, they're guaranteed at the very least to have a double Yakuhai Champon, and here they get the E. So that like this hand never ends up Otozuke regardless of situation. And now actually it's Tenpai waiting on the 8-peen.
And unfortunately no Chanta, but
yeah. Oh, and now we have Tenpai across the way on the 3-mon, but it's Yakuless. No,
3-so, and now both of them have been discarded.
Oh god.
So now they're only down to 1. So you can't Ricci here waiting for the last one. I don't think that's a good idea. You might have to work on changing your weight.
Yeah, maybe toss the 4-so and take like a wider Ishanten. Tossing the 2-pin, so keeping the Tenpai for now. You can still draw next to the 4-so.
You can't because they discarded the 3. They could discard the 6.
You could draw the 6. Just take it the second time. The weight on the 5 is better than the weight on the 3.
I guess.
Gee.
Now we have Tenpai in front of us by Robert. Got to decide. All right, taking the Champon, 2-pin 7-so.
I actually wonder if the 6 waiting on the 6 might have actually been more advantageous, but it doesn't matter because the 8-pin comes out right now. The only reason why I say that is because the 3-sos had been discarded. So if people have been discarding the 3-so, how many people are really going to need the 6?
Well, the 3-so doesn't factor into any shapes that use the 6. If anybody tried to use the 6, they'd more than likely have a bad weight, but it's not like the 3-so itself would be a part of like a Ryanman waiting on the 6-so, because you'd have to have 4 or 5 or 7, 8. Now, if people are discarding 3-so, they probably don't have 4 or 5.
If they didn't need the 3, then they wouldn't need. Then chances are they probably wouldn't need the 6.
Nothing keeping you from having 7, 8 though. That's one of the things you have to be careful of with Suji.
No, but it's less likely, right? Because otherwise they were waiting on the 7-so, right? And there wasn't. And Sozu was a little bit expensive at the time, I think.
So it's either people have the 7-so and are waiting on 6-so, or yeah, no, I think that logic makes sense. We have 2 quick calls on the left from Robert, but this isn't even Ishanten yet. Just got the North and the West right off the bat.
It's not Ishanten, but at the same time, like nobody knows they're not Tenpai yet, and it's somewhat unfortunate they dropped the Souths. Otherwise, you might be a little bit more concerned.
That, especially with only 1 East visible so far. And now we're going to have the 8-so Pon from Jacob. Do we see the cheat? No. The third.
Not that they would have known that from turn 1, but...
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. 2 Dora now for Jacob. So this dealer hand started to look really dangerous.
I'm not sure that the 6-so needs to be kept because you have the rest of your blocks. And the only way you draw into it that would probably be useful is you drew the 5, because if you draw the 7, 3 of your 8s have already been taken by your call.
There's another 2-so. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like this is just pure efficiency. Like, not... There we go. Whoa, Khan! Jaws 5-so, now gonna drop the 6-8-peen.
Wow, they lucked into that 5-so draw right there. So it works out for
sure. Them. Flipped 1-peen as the new Dora, which helps nobody. 2 of them already in the discards. And nobody can use it.
Now the problem for Jacob is that both of his groundman weights are 4-7. Which is like, it's a groundman weight's great, but a 4-7's about the worst of it you can get, really, because they're both middle tiles.
And now we have the Ricci from across the table from Jeff. That's going to be waiting on 16. Oh! And there's 2 Ura shots
was just hanging there.
No Ura.
No Ura, though. But again, that goes back to what we were talking about before. It's like you have these hanging tiles. How long? You know, you're probably not going to use it. Now, there was no choice because they had already just discarded the 8, and we were going to discard the 6 next turn. But
if you do it in the other order, you're fine. Like if you start with the more dangerous 6 peen, then discard the 8 peen, no trouble would have been had.
I mean, it might give away information as to what you're waiting for, but it doesn't deal in, so that might be the more important thing, really.
As it is, we are going into East 4, a very snappy, quick game so far. We actually have 3 people tied at 29,300, which you don't see very often in East 4, especially with multiple different people winning. But in their dealership, Gaetano here has some okay middle tile shapes, can sort of accept the Dora 6-0. Holding on to the Haku and the Chun here, either as save tiles or hoping to pair up the Haku, not sure yet. Kind of unclear. More than likely just going to end up being save tiles, though. It's going to be hard to compete with Toyman and Kamicha, though, here.
Yeah, probably it's going to save tiles. Now we can entertain possible Itsu if they can. They're still 3 tiles. They're still 3 tiles away. They need the 2, 8, and 9 pin, but certainly something you can entertain at least, especially with something like the 2 mon that's just hanging there. It's a possibility, and especially if they want to get more value out of the hand because they are sitting on no Dora.
So Jacob on the left here could discard the 2 peen for a headless Ishanten. Elects not to. It's going to keep the head full Ishanten, which is fine. That should end up being a Tanyao Pinfu hand with 1 Dora.
Eat.
Oh, there's Tenpai. All right, waiting on 2-so, 5-so. 3 of those visible to everyone at the table, 2 more in hands. So 3 left in the wall there. That is Tanyao, Pinfu, Dora 1.
Now the thing being here that based upon their discards of the 3, 4, 5 pin, I think for the most part you kind of have to believe that Pinzu are probably safe to discard if you want to proceed with your hand.
And it does look like several people making that assumption here. We see a lot of 3 peen and 1 peen discards especially. So not any big pushes in peen, but luckily across the table for Robert, he just keeps drawing Sozu.
Now that's unfortunate for Gaetano. Gaetano had drawn the 2 mon earlier, decided to pitch it, and had they kept it, they would now have an Ipeco shape. Now I understand why you wouldn't necessarily keep it because you'd want to keep your 3-way weight with the 3, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But otherwise, I'm not quite sure what you're going to go here, or what you're trying to get at here. And having discarded the 2 mon now, is that a bail? I would have to assume it is.
I mean, you were still 2 Shanten.
Sure, but you still could have Mawashi'd around a little bit. I don't think it was necessary to have given up wholeheartedly here.
Here we go. Now we're Ishanten.
Yeah, they got rather fortunate getting that 5-so, but yeah.
Chi.
Good chi for Tenpai. Discard 3 mon. It's fine.
So it worked out for them in the end. Well, okay, so now they are pushing.
Yeah, people are so much more pushy on the final discard.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was last discard. It was last turn.
And there we go. 2 Tenpai, 2 not. That does bring dealer here over 30k. Dora is the Haku, only 1 starting out across the table in Robert's hand.
Gaetano can entertain a 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku, but none of this is guaranteed as of yet. But it might be their best course of action, all things considered.
4 2-so in Jeff's hand on the right. Not really anything to do with that at the moment. Probably just gonna hold it around, see what shapes end up developing. But just thought I'd point it out.
Well, I mean, if somehow they get to Otozuke, or not Otozuke, if they end up calling the Hatsu, and well, actually, no, you can't because you're already holding all four. I was kind of imagining some trick you could run where somehow you make a call on the 2 and you're waiting for the 1/4, but you can't do that because you're already holding all the 2s.
That does make it difficult. Yeah, it does take it.
At this point, you're either, well, I would imagine they would. Well, would they con if they got Tenpai here on a 1/4 mon? Well, it doesn't matter anymore.
If you drew the 4-so, you definitely con. But here we are waiting on 1-so, 4-so, which is a fairly good wait. We only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 left in the wall. There's one of them, but that 4-so fits in the hand, but the 1-so doesn't anymore. So that's going to be a deal in. Not very expensive, though. Just 1,000 points.
Brings them over 30,000. We've had, like you said before, people were it was really close at, like, what, people had 29.3 or something like that. So doesn't take a whole lot to get over 30,000 here as we start South 1.
Just nabbing the Ricci stick, making the difference. This could be a pretty quick Honitsu hand for Jeff if he wanted to take it. Has a pair of the Norths, did not call the first pay discard from Toyman.
Again, that's I guess the terminology is now the Baka Honitsu, just the straight only Honitsu. I think you could probably wait off on that. If you could try to maybe call some of the middle tiles instead, like maybe Pwn the 4-mon, say if it came out, something like that, and then try to do something. But I guess they're going to go for it after all.
Here's the argument I'd make. Bakahon is like, you have no value other than Honitsu. I would argue that being dealer is its own extra value. I mean, like, Honitsu's only 2 Han if you're not dealer, but make yourself dealer, and all of a sudden it's 2 Han as a non-dealer times 1.5. So, like, really, you've got extra value there. It just looks different than most extra value looks.
I guess. Now Jeff could actually, and there's a closer way of entertaining possibly a Toy to go along with this.
Yeah, and that would be a very good way to add extra value here. The problem is there's no way to advance towards Toy without having to discard either the 6-mon or the 9-mon. I mean, if you get another 6-mon, you're Tenpai if you drop 9-mon, or if you draw another 9-mon, you're Tenpai if you drop 6-mon. There we go. Drops the south. So oh yeah, there we go. So this is a Tenpai. It's just a bad Champon. Waiting on the final 6-mon or one of the 2 outstanding 9-mon. It's kind of unfortunate that there's no way to sumo into a Sananko here. It looks almost like you should be able to. But either the 6-mon or the 9-mon has to be your pair, and there's the 9.
The thing is that, like, and there was still a possibility for the Toy, but they would have had to have drawn the 8-mon because 2 of the 7s were sitting in Gaetano's hand. But they take the lead here. It's a tentative one here at 34,000, but it's still a lead. The hand, though, with 2 Dora, but it's not. Outside of that, it's a little bit
I mean, you can definitely still daydream about like a 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, for example, if you're able to draw around the 6-mon. Like, this hand's not dead. You're gonna do whatever you can to keep it alive once you got that 2 Dora, especially as dealer. But then you look at hands like across the table, where we have an Anko of the Chun, a complete 6, 7, 8-peen run, 2 pairs, and then a Ryankan. Like, that is a pretty dastardly Ishan 10 right off the bat. Yeah. Even discarded at the Dora 9-peen first discard and could be using it right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering about. It's like you could have still used that, and you know, while I like you, I don't mind the pairs that you have. Oh, there's the 3. So that should be a Ricci. So the weight here is good. 2-so 1-pin. Sure, one of the 1-pins are out. But in this particular case, the 1-pin is inside of the 3-pin that was discarded the turn before Ricci, and the 2-so is in the middle of that 1/4 so that he discarded in turns 2 and 3. So I would consider those fairly innocuous tiles for anybody else to discard if they thought it was safe.
Dora's safe, and this is a nice thing about having Dora in your discards when you call Ricci, is it encourages everyone else to also discard Dora for safety if they're trying to Mawashi, and that is robbing them of value. So by discarding the Dora yourself and calling Ricci, there's a little bit of incentive if other players are having trouble playing around you to also get rid of the Dora, which can be helpful to you if anybody chases. This hand on the left, though, is also Ishanten. I mean, honestly, could end up with Rion Peko.
And Jeff, on the meanwhile, had given up, like I said, mentioned before, given up both of the Dora, and I guess at this point has to be punting the hand, I'd assume.
I mean, you're like, sure.
I don't know how you're gonna get back in time.
You're 3 Shanten from Chitoy, I suppose.
Yeah. But if that were the case, like, you probably would have held onto the door anyways and maybe tried to find something else if you had anything, which I wasn't sure.
Still 2 tiles left in the wall here for Jacob. 1 Tuso, 1 1-peen. There's an 8-so. The Chun in the West are, well, I guess is the Chun still alive? There's the 1-peen. Yeah, the Chun is still alive because Jacob has all of them in hand.
The 1-pin actually might be a little bit more squeamish to discard because you actually haven't seen that many Pinzu discarded, even though you have seen some of the lower ones.
Yeah, one pin.
If there's enough 2-pins that come out, if there's enough 2-pins that come out, then you might consider it as like a 1 chance.
Yeah, it should be noted though, third row is a bad time to start considering 1 chance. Robert has drawn every single one of Jacob's winning tiles,
which means we're probably looking at a draw. Oh, we're really looking at a draw with that 2-pin fitting into the hand if they wanted to go for it. Because then they could have, say, discarded like 6-0, for instance, if they wanted to push.
6-0 would be Nakasuji?
Not quite. Well, yeah, because the 9-so had been discarded earlier, so yeah.
But it ends up Jacob the only person Tenpai, and that's enough to get Jacob over 30k. Notably also drops Gaetano below 30k. Now at 29.8. Now there's 1,600 in the middle of the table going into Robert's dealership here. 2 of the Dora 5-peen in Robert's hand. 4 pairs.
4 pairs.
Should maybe put on the Chitoy watch.
Probably. The 6, 8, 9 is a little bit awkward. I mean, if you draw the 7, I guess it's useful, but I mean, here what would you discard here? I mean, like, because I can understand why you discard. Well, you know, if you're going to go for a Chitoy, you probably discard the South because the South is useful for more people. The East will only be useful for you.
Jacob on the right, forcing Honitsu here. That's a pretty bad hand, so
yeah,
I guess I get it.
You're probably just going to call for whatever. So this is a toy. I guess this has to be a toy play, doesn't it?
Unless you're able to pull in another South, and then you can have Yakuhai.
Or somehow you get into Tanyao, I guess, but that seems a little bit. That seems a little bit of a stretch. I mean, I suppose if you could try to get the 3-pin, and try to draw around the 6, I suppose you still have time, so it's not that imperative yet. So there, like the 5-1 comes in right there. So now you can certainly push for a Tanyao Dora 2, possibly 3.
The call helping out Jacob here. All right, tossing the 5-so.
Any terminals that aren't pairing up for honors.
And then across the way, Gaetano.
Oh, it's sick. It's the 7-mon.
Yeah, toss the 9-so though now, and you're Ishanten. This is Ishanten for Tanyao. This is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Gaetano's draws have been just kind of icky. Like, again, just more awkward shapes, like 3, 5, 5, 7, 7 in the Manzu. You finally have a good shape in Sozu, but you have a 7-so in your discard. Still taking it, though. We are no, God, this is still 2 Shanten for Gaetano.
This should be Tenpai now, yeah.
Doesn't? Hold on.
Goes for the greedy weight, 2-5.
Wants to be able to win on Dora, and doesn't want to drop a Dora.
And there was the
himself.
sumo. There was
Yeah.
the sumo.
I mean, if you
Problem
if
is,
you want,
that 5-pin is central, and you'd have to assume that if anybody's got it, they're probably holding onto it for a reason.
I mean, it's probably being used. It's so easy to use, and that is the case. Like both Jeff and Gaetano are using the 5-pin.
Right, which means which probably means they should just accept the 2 Dora here, because now you're literally waiting on the last 2-pin now.
If you were going to greed, I would much prefer greeting by dropping the 2-pin. Go for the 2-4 Kanchan. If a 5-pin comes out, you can still take it and go Tonki to raise yourself to a Mangan. If you want to be able to accept another Dora. If you draw another 5-pin, then you'd be able to drop another 2-pin and have a 3-sided wait. So I feel like the better greed option here would have been to drop 2-pin, wait Kanchan 2-4, but you only have so much time to think about it. It's much cozier up here in the commentary booth. We do have Tenpai on the 9-pin and the 6-pin across the way, but that is also Furiton for Gaetano. So could not call wrong on Jeff's 9-pin discard for that reason.
And the only person that would possibly toss the 2-pin at this point would be Jeff, because everybody else would. Well, I guess probably Gaetano now could pitch it as well. I'm not sure how comfortable they'd feel pitching it, but it certainly wouldn't fit. So is that 2-pin walled up? It is.
Once again, another exhaustive draw. 2 people there. Once again, Gaetano got dropped below 30k by an exhaustive draw. Now gets back over. Jacob had gotten over 30k because of an exhaustive draw. Now drops under. So we're still hanging at 2 over, 2 under. There are only 4,500 points separating first and last, and there are 1,900 points in the middle of the table as we go into another dealership for Robert. Ditching honors here. Not very good shapes in hand. 1-pin Dora, which we see a couple of around the table. Jeff maybe having a little bit of a head start here with a complete sequence and an Anko of the Hatsu. Could even get 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. Oh, and another Dora! There we go.
I was going to say, it's like you're probably going to have to pitch it unless you pair it up, and I didn't even get a chance to say it, and you paired it up. So, and now we're sitting Tenpai. You don't need to Riichi this. In fact,
Hatsu
you should
Dora
not.
too.
You know why not? Because if you draw the 9
so, yeah,
you ditch 6, and now you're looking at Yakuhai Chanta Dora 2. Oh, Yakuhai Chanta Sanshoku Dora 2, and which would blow this. I think a manga would blow this game wide open, anyways. But actually, no, it would be 52. 5,200 would blow this game wide open, considering the hands that have been won so far. But if you can get that 9 so.
That makes it 12,000 or 16,000 if you feel like calling Riichi on it. Get real greedy. Oh, that 7 so is so dangerous to Jacob's hand. And another 1-pin. Yeah, taking the Tonki here. Hatsu
now
Dora 3.
You're looking for any terminal. You're looking for any terminal, and then you can declare Riichi. Well, would you declare Riichi? Yakuhai Chanta.
It doesn't increase your value
Dora
unless
3,
you sumo.
6, 7. Well, you'd have to get. You need Ura. It's not necessary, but if you're greeting, then you're greeting.
I actually missed this. Jacob could have discarded the 7 so for Tenpai, and didn't. I wonder if Jacob's even connected right now, because those sumo gear are weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're also happening immediately. Oh, the 6-pin would deal in if it comes out. And it does!
Yeah.
Mangan deal in. I hope everything's okay on the right with Jacob. It actually ended up being fortunate. If Jacob had been at the table, like without a DC, I feel like 7 so almost has to deal in there.
No, but you see they discarded the 1 mon,
Yeah.
so I usually if they're DC'd, you'd see the red, so that's why I didn't think that would be the case, especially for that long period of time.
Well, it was just their discards were so strong. It's not like the 4 so was safe. It's not like the 5 so was safe. Like,
but there was no Riichi declared, was there?
No Ricci declared.
So, I mean, it may be dangerous, but that assumes that they think somebody's Tenpai, right?
But seven so would have been Tenpai. Like that, like Nathaniel pointed this out, like behind the scenes. Discarding seven so would have been Tenpai for Jacob. He did not discard seven so. Like that just seems weird. Like it's not like 4 so, 5 so just as dangerous as 7 so is.
It could have been a temporary DC in that case, where it's just for that tile, perhaps.
As it is, Jacob has a pretty good hand here. Pair of Chun, Anko the 5 so, very good shapes. Ishanten already. Can accept the Dora 7-pin. Oh, actually going towards Chi Toy or Toy Toy here. Either way could work. If you draw the 7-pin, you probably hedge towards the Chi Toy. If you're able to pawn literally anything, probably hedge towards the Toy Toy. We have a pair of the Chun also on the right. So a little bit of Mochi Mochi action. Probably, well, that also could be a Chi Toy. There's 4 pairs on the right. Could even be Chi Toy Honitsu for Gaetano there. Across the table, we have a Sozu Honitsu. Although it's not particularly close yet. That 7 so helps.
So Jacob's probably committed to either the Toy Toy or the Chi Toy because they had discarded the 9-pin, and so they cannot use the Dora anymore unless they use it for like a Chi Toy or something like that.
A nice little pawn there from Jeff across the table. And an answering pawn from Gaetano.
Yeah, you're middle second row. See, there's the Dora now. So if you're gonna go Chi Toy, which they're not, so now they're just gonna push for Toy Toy or something like that.
And Gaetano now. Yakuhai. Gaetano looking at a possible Yakuhai Honitsu Dora 3.
Well, here's the problem also if you're Jacob, just to say, like, if they're going for just like a Yakuhai or something like that, well, now you can entertain Suanko. But before that, like, at this point, you have not seen a Chun, so you have to start wondering if you're Mochi. No,
Tenpai!
Each.
Yeah, thinking about the Ricci here. The 8-pin! Doesn't deal it. The 6-pin is safe. Very fair.
Yeah, but there are 3 tiles out of those 7 that deal in. Now, I'm assuming the Chun is not coming out because they don't see it.
Right.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Well, it's got to be south, right?
No, the 8 comes out first! I would have figured the south would have come first.
I really thought the south was coming. No Ura, though, so it's just a Mangan. Ricci, Sananko, Toy Toy.
And now where we had a situation where it was like all 4 players within about 4,000 points, now you have a clear separation, unfortunately, for Gaetano with having to pay into that.
Gaetano, though, does have the final dealership, so time to make this up. Has a pair of the Chun in hand, but once again, Mochi Mochi, this time Robert with the other pair.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate for Gaetano. Like, you already called the Dora, so you're pretty committed, I think, at that point. You're never putting dealer on, you know, something like that type of hand, but yeah, it was going to be hard to not deal into that hand, especially with the 8-pin being one of the weights.
3-pin is the Dora this hand. We have one in Jeff's hand across the table, and it can be incorporated into everyone's hand other than Gaetano's currently. Jeff actually could end up with an Itsu in the pin. Oh, we have a second Dora in Jeff's hand. Actually, could end up going Honitsu. Has a lot of Pinzu piling up. Would have to get rid of the entire Soju shape though.
Boom. Boom.
A lot of pairs coming into Jacob's hand. Has the Anko of the 1-mon, but you have 2 Ryanman shapes. Not counting the possible 5-6 so. Oh, but we have a pawn now. We have a 1-mon, 4-mon Tenpai. Oh, and the 4-mon deals in. Chun only for Robert there. All right, so we are going into South 4. Gaetano is our dealer. Dora is the 9-mon. We have a pair of Hatsu on the left, which could go for a fast hand. Might be an easy way to call and steal first place. Gaetano, though, really needs to start piling on the repeats, and this hand is okay for it. Another 3-so does help. There are 5 blocks here, so this is 2 Shanten. Draws a Dora that's unhelpful.
Yeah, you're going to really have to go for efficiency here because there's no value. So you're basically going to take whatever hand you can get. That does help in the sense that you can incorporate the Dora. And I guess if you're looking at between 179 and the other 79, if you want value, then this is the right way to go. In terms of completing the hand, not as sure because there's already 3 of the 8 mons already out. So you may end up needing to discard that Dora actually sooner rather than later.
Jacob in a really awkward position. Has 4 of the 3 mon, but also has 3 pairs. Has 5 pairs. All right, calls the con. We get it now. Flips the 9-so as a new Dora.
Which unfortunately Gaetano had discarded earlier and will have to proceed to discard again.
None of the Hatsu have come into anybody's hands here. Robert, across the way, has been 2 Shanten since turn 3, but has drawn absolutely nothing. This
I'm not sure.
Could be
I'm
called.
Not sure
yep.
What Gaetano's getting at here, keeping that 2-mon, they finally discarded because all the 3s are over to the left. So unless you're going for a Chitoy or something, that wasn't really gonna do you much good. Well, there's another pair. Not that it probably would have mattered anyways, because again, that's a slow hand, and you just need to get Tenpai here. Your worst case scenario, you have to get Tenpai.
With that 7-peen draw, well, I guess 2 2-peen have already been discarded. I was wondering if Jacob maybe could switch to Tanyao instead of waiting on the Hatsu. Well, there's Tenpai.
Yeah,
Hatsu
now you're
2-peen Tenpai. Only not. It's kind of Otsuzukei, but not really, because all the 2-peen are gone. So there's no chance of any sort of Furiton here for Jacob. So this is Toy Hatsu.
Worse, if Gaetano somehow draws the Hatsu, it's definitely coming out.
Gaetano now Ishanten. 6-so, 3-so, 7-mon, or 1-mon would all get Gaetano to Tenpai. Ooh, the Hatsu. There it is.
Okay, there's your K10 Tenpai, so go ahead and take that right now.
Just trying to decide what to discard.
What?
Oh, doesn't take it!
What?
How bad does 7-mon look? I mean, I guess 7-mon doesn't... Oh!
Okay, I guess?
Spectacular. Was worried about discarding both the 7-mon and the 9-mon. Oh no! Discard the 9-mon. It's safe. The 9-mon's safe, Gaetano. Yes.
Oh jeez.
Whew. Bullet dodged.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely fantastic. And now we're gonna get a dealer repeat here. This is exactly what Gaetano needed. Now you just gotta win a hand. Has a pair of the Easts. So could this speed this one along? It's gonna be hard to race Jacob though with having 2 Yakuhai over there, the Seat Wind North and the Haku. The Hatsu, unfortunately, Mochi for Robert and Jeff, so it's going to be a little bit tougher for them. Yeah, it's really hard to imagine anybody beating Jacob's hand here. It's just so fast.
Well, the problem is that Jacob needs the second Yakuhai, because even if they just win the 1,000 points, that's only 1,300. They'll be 200 short unless they hit Robert directly.
Well, they have a Dora, so if they get the 3-mon in hand,
well, that would also... they would need the 3-mon. That's the thing.
So, I mean, you could, even if you get 2-so or 5-so, you just drop 5-mon, and then you're good.
Each.
Ricci! Jeff calls the Ricci. Now, the 1,000-point hand is enough for Jacob, because that 1,000 points away from Jeff could go into Jacob's hand if he's able to win on it. Yes! Takes the Tenpai, waiting 2-so, 5-so. So we have...
Discards the Dora to do it.
4-so, 7-so wait for Jeff. 2-so, 5-so wait for Jacob. Whoever wins it gets first.
Yeah, and Gaetano looks pretty lost here at this point.
Oh no, there's the 7-so that's gonna deal in!
Yep.
The weights were practically equal. Actually, there were more 2-so, 5-so in the wall than there were 4-so, 7-so. Jeff's still winning though. Jeff gets it, is going to take first here. Still a good second for Jacob though. So nothing to be unhappy about. And with both of them right there at the promotion zone, this is definitely a benefit. Jeff getting the plus 30.9 is going to launch him all the way up into fourth. Jacob with the plus 12.4 is going to inch him closer to the promotion spot. With Leon now being in 7th place, you're going to have to get up to 73.8 if you want to bypass and get into one of those top 7 slots. Unfortunately for Robert and Gaetano coming at the bottom here, both of them in the demotion zone currently. Gaetano just barely on the edge of it, and this negative 9.7 doesn't help, but it doesn't overly hurt him either. Robert at negative 172 really needs to start making up ground. Still 3 more sessions, plenty of time, but you don't want to take too many more of these negative 33.6s.
But, again, the game was relatively close for the first half of the game, and the unfortunate, both of the unfortunate deal-ins there, where it was the Yakuhai Door 3, and then the Toy Toy Mangan. Just kind of sunk them as it stood in that game.
So looking here at the B2 stats, it's actually interesting. We covered some A1 games last night, and A1's win rate and A1's both win rate and deal-in rate were both better than league average. The same is true for B2. B2 has a better win rate and a better deal-in rate than average. It really kind of makes me wonder which divisions have a worse than average win rate and deal-in rate. I feel like I would not be surprised if A2, my division, had a worse deal-in rate. There's a lot of aggression in there right now. But this is kind of interesting. Almost exactly on par with winning score though. For these players in particular, we do see a very incredible win rate for Jacob. I mean, well, really, both Jacob and Jeff. Like, a 25.9 win rate, honestly, is insane. And then Jacob with a 28%, I mean, that's just off the wall. That is absolutely incredible win percentage. Jeff, though, is ahead, mostly because of that 6.5% deal-in. I mean, we have 4 people in the single digits in the promotion range of B2. That is bonkers. 3 of them at 6. 6.5, 6.5, 6.1, 8.9. Those are like really incredible deal-in values.
Well, not just that, but like the two of them, Kevin and Alfred, have the 6% deal-in rate and a sub 3,800 average deal-in. That's why you see them sitting near the top in terms of total EV.
Yeah, that has a massive, even though the hands they're winning are incredibly big. I mean, they're 1,000 points below, well, for Kevin, at least 1,000 points below league average. But I mean, who cares? If you're winning 30.6% of the time and losing 6.5% of the time, like, it doesn't really matter that there's only a 425 point spread or a 500 point spread between your average win and your average loss, because you're winning 24% more.
But
I'm sorry, 500% more. My bad.
If you're facing against them, though, one of the things you might want to take into account is like, okay, yeah, I mean, they have the high spread there, but if you notice, winning hand and deal in hand are very low. And so you have to wonder whether or not when you play against them, if the games that you're going to play are going to be like what the first half of that game is like, where everything is low scoring and everything's very, very tight. So, maybe not be surprised, for instance, if you're to play against them and somehow you ended up in that situation.
And there is a lot of benefit to, okay, look at your hand. Is there a path to value? No? Take your one hand and go. Like, it is very, very hard to get to Tenpai closed, just objectively in Mahjong. Like, there's 4 people all trying to do the same thing. Getting to Tenpai closed is incredibly difficult. So, if you look at your hand and you're like, well, this hand isn't going to have any value no matter what I do, might as well open, take it cheap, take it fast, increase your win rate, and then when you do get a valuable hand, you can sit back in the pocket for a second and try and feel that hand out. And if you've made a little bit of a cushion yourself, you might be able to push. Elsewhere on this page, though, we also see Cassandra in 10th. A 7,380 point average win. That's, I mean, almost a Mongon average win. Have they had a Yakuman? Are they one of our Yakuman winners so far this season?
I have to go back and check. I know I've needed a little bit delinquent in posting the pictures on our Twitter page, so I'll get around to doing that in the next day or two.
Yeah, I would kind of expect that's what's causing that. I mean, I guess if your win rate is low enough, it is possible to have just like, okay, you're not winning very much, but every time you do win, it is a Mongon. And that does pay off to some extent. I mean, we do see her right in the middle of the pack now. For Gaetano and Robert, though, a lot of ground to make up here. Gaetano just trying to get above Tommy, just getting over that 50. And really, all you need is one really good first to do that. So this is your last chance with these players. Could be advantageous to take points directly off of either Robert or Jacob, because those are the two you're most in competition with if you're Gaetano specifically, sitting in the middle of the pack here. Setting the people at the bottom of the division lower, or taking people from the top closer to yourself, can both do a lot in increasing your ranking. But I mean, there's just so much Mahjong left to play. I mean, 3 whole sessions. You don't need to win all of your points at once. A friend of mine always says when you're like 20 points away from rank points, it's really tempting to say you're 1 win away from ranking up. But really, you should think of it as you're 10 wins away, because you're going to get seconds and thirds. You're going to lose some. And then when you finally get your first, it'll just have to come at the right time. But here we go, getting into our final Hanchan for B2 Table 2. The Dora is the 1-peen. The dealer here has some okay shape. All right, that makes the hand look much, much better. A complete shape in Pinzu, a Ryanman besides, and then nice shapes in the Sozu. Just like to draw around maybe that 2-so, could possibly get a 1-2-3 or 2-3-4 Sanshoku. 1-2-3 would be a little bit easier, though the 2-mon, pretty good. 2 Shanten now for Jacob.
Yeah, I think that probably would have been nice if you did manage to draw 1-3-mon, but at this point, I think you'll just go ahead and take whatever Tenpai you can get.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's Riichi, even if your only Yaku is Riichi, at the very least you have Riichi Dora 1. Now, 2 of the 2-mon have been discarded now, so you don't want to end up Shanpon on it. That would be unfortunate. Ooh, discarding the 3-so, taking the 4 pairs here. What do you think about that play, Edwin?
Unsure, because if you're thinking about a Tanya attack because you discard the 3, that means discarding the Dora later on, so I don't think that is probably warranted. Yeah, now it backfires with the 4 later on, so
oh my god,
I'm not quite sure that's necessarily what you were looking for there.
Yeah, look at Jeff's hand though. Draws a 4th 8-peen, calls Khan, and has decided, you know what? Not only am I going to make this hand a Suanko, I will also take Chinitsu. Thank you very much. All right, there we go.
You mean Toy Toy?
Well, no, it was...
it was a possibility for, because they were closed. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, before that 1-peen Pon, it was Ishanten for Sananko, and easily could have headed towards Suanko. But now, we are Chinitsu Ishanten, could even get Chinitsu Toy Toy Dora 2, Dora 3, or Dora 5, I mean. We have 3 of the 1-peen Dora, 2 of the 4-peen Dora. That hand is just absolutely ludicrous right now. Kazuha and Yakuman are on for the league, aren't they?
It is, but who's discarding Pinzu now?
I mean, no one. But you might not need to. I mean, the way that he's been drawing Pinzu. Oh, that 2-peen would have to come out. If you... All right, it's going to force the 2-peen into hand.
You're just not. You can't afford it.
I mean, the 2-peen doesn't actually end up feeding anything. That 6-peen, though, would. That 6-peen would get Jeff to Tenpai. 2-peen does nothing. Nope, neither of them coming out.
Like, you cannot risk them being Tenpai right now. The chances may be a little bit lower on 2 calls versus 3 calls, but if you're thinking possible Chinitsu with Dora 3 at least.
Oh, Tenpai! This is Chinitsu, Dora 5, Toy Toy, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If they win on the 4-peen, it is a Kazue Yakuman. On the 2-peen, it is not. If they sumo, it's San Anko.
It's all dead.
It's all dead?
It's all dead. Look out there.
Okay, so you can't sumo it. So no, well, it's not dead. Dead is the wrong word. They can't sumo it, so there's no San Anko. San Anko is dead. But Kazue Yakuman is not dead, because 4-peen could still come out. It would be not bonkers.
Okay, that it's not dead, but you would have to be. I mean, I don't think it'd be far from saying you'd have to be crazy to discard a Pinzu that hasn't been discarded by Jeff.
Misclicks happen.
Okay, that's different.
You trip, you hit it. I'm just saying it's not dead. It's possible to win. It's only dead if it's literally impossible to win. Taking the 3,000, not quite as good as the 32k Kazue that Jeff was hoping for, but you know, as Edwin said, nobody was gonna feed that on purpose for sure. Going into East 2, maybe things will be a little bit calmer here. Nobody with quite as exciting hand right off the bat. Although, East is Dora, and there's a pair in Jeff's hand. So Jeff could, once again, get a high-valued hand, even if it's not a Kazue. And Dealer, Ishanten, right off the bat here, just has super bad shapes.
But the weights are going to be terrible at the end.
Yeah, absolute garbage shapes. But there's still time for those to improve. If you're Ishanten, middle of the first row, even if they're bad shapes, I mean, honestly, you could just call this. Like, it's going to take at least 2 draws for you to improve your weight in Sozu.
Yeet.
Like, yeah, I don't mind this at all.
You don't mind the Sanzo weight?
Yeah, I am not. Listen, I like making jokes about Sanso, but I am as far away from an occult player as you can be. What I do believe in, though, is looking at your hand and saying, it is going to take at least 6 draws for my weight to improve. By then, someone else will probably be Tenpai. I might as well, as Dealer, call Ricci now and scare people off.
And 2 draws. Because all you need to do is like draw that 8 mon and then say draw a 7, and then you've improved. Right?
That's 2 draws. No, but I'm saying more than likely, it will take like 6 turns, 6+ turns for you to get those 2 draws. That's what I mean.
Okay, that's fair. Yes.
I'm sorry, I was not very clear, but you are correct. It takes 2 draws to get there, but more turns to get those 2 draws. And we do see people are having to kind of play around this a little bit. Still, obviously, pushing what they have to. There's not much information on safe tiles, but
well, there is because there aren't that because Sozu is expensive. If you look out on the discard pile, Sozu is expensive. So everybody else will probably discard everything but Sozu at this point.
Yeah, when they don't have a better option.
Right. And with Sozu being Gaetano's weight, I think is just not to mention the fact that 2 of them are already stuck in Robert's hand. This is probably going to be tough sledding.
I don't know how I feel about where Jeff went with his hand. Jeff was Ishanten for Chitoi and discarded a pair of the 6-mon. I don't know whether that was really necessary. I mean, you have 5 pairs. You have tiles that don't look horrible. You've got 2 Dora. Like Chitoi Dora 2 seems like a perfectly fine thing to.
Well, we have 2 3-so weights now.
It's another. Oh, but this one's the Apatsumo. Oh man, Ricci Apatsu Sumo. And 2 for the Vangon. My goodness. If only
if you're Gaetano, you are fuming right now because it's like you have the exact same 1-2 weight that I did. And not only did you get to your Tenpai, but you managed to Ipatsumo afterwards. Like, I'm sure Gaetano's probably fuming about that right now.
And took the Oyakabari. Had to pay out double because of being Dealer. 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku, though, possible here for Jeff once again. Jeff is going to have a shot at Hanuman Plus every single hand this Hanchan, I think. 6-peen is Dora.
I mean, probably they'll get to Hanemon if they can get the Sanshoku here.
Yeah. Sanshoku, Pinfu, Dora. I mean, even without Pinfu, you don't necessarily... Like, Sanshoku, Dora, Ricci.
It'd be hard to get Pinfu. You'd have to fill in both of those 6-8 weights.
Right, you'd have to start there and then end up with a final weight in the Monzu, which is unlikely. Jacob's hand, not... Jacob's hand is weird. Like the Pinzu look kind of okay, but everything is just so closed weight. Like so many Kanchans here. That 3-pin is very nice. Possible Ipeco shape there,
It's just
but
inefficient because, like, for instance,
yeah.
that 579 is a Ryokan weight, but you're spending 3 tiles to do it, right? So yeah, it's just more inefficient more than anything else.
A nice Ishanten on the right for Robert, though, in value. Basically no way to end up on a good weight, but does have 3 of the Dora 6-pin. So it'd be incredibly valuable if he is able to get to Tenpai. And that is a rather large if here. A lot to fill in over there.
I'm trying to determine whether or not it was good to discard that 9-so.
This is Tenpai for Gaetano. 3-pin Dama. Tanya Nomi. To discard the 9-so.
Yeah, earlier when they had the pair of 9-sos, I was trying to think whether or not that was the most efficient play there. Instead, now they're holding on to that pair of 4-so instead, and I'm not sure that's the same. Well, it might be.
I mean, again, just awkward shapes. Like the issue with the hand, the issue with discarding anything at this point is just like all of those shapes are bad. Like they're just so unbelievably awkward. Oop, there's another 3-pin. Do you toss it?
No.
You don't really need it. All right, tossing the Ryokan first.
Yeah, everything else makes more sense, I think.
Could end up with a 3-4-5 Sanchoku still over there. Although a 3-so was discarded first.
Oh, you discarded the 7, so.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time looking at the discard pools and kind of putting together the full thought process of what was going on for the players. Not for any like particular like I don't remember what the hand looked like at the very beginning for Jacob that led him to start by discarding the 3-so. 3-pin Sumo. Just Sumo on a Thursday. Sumo Tanya.
So it gets Gaetano back some of their points. They're still sitting in last, but it's very marginal here in East 4.
Yeah, everything's still super close, although that's what we were saying going into the South round in the first Hanchan. This hand would be really good if it wasn't for the 1-2 mon and the 8-9-pin. Really need to improve on those two shapes, and this hand can go somewhere. 5 mon is the Dora. We only see one of those out currently, and it is in Gaetano's hand, although both Jacob and Jeff could incorporate it currently.
Well, Chen is slowly improving, although may regret having discarded that 2-pin earlier. I think there's a lot of people that maybe when they're starting out, are sitting on like a 1-2 of a certain suit or an 8-9 and thinking they just need the 7. And I think the theory out there says that you're actually better off with any other middle tile as opposed to holding on to the 1-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like the average number of turns to completing the group is better for an isolated 5 than it is for a Pinchon. Although the 8-9-pin, like, there's value reasons to hold on to the 8-9-pin at the very least, because you could still get Itsu. If you hadn't discarded the 2-pin. Right, if you haven't discarded the 2-pin, then you're only 2 tiles away from the Itsu in the pin. The 1-2 mon is definitely a little bit rougher, since it doesn't, well, just as it doesn't flow with everything else.
This is another efficiency play here. If you're going to try to just, because you don't have much value in the hand, you don't have Dora. If you kept the 3-pin, you could have gone for Tanya by discarding the 1 mon and the 9 mons instead. You are sitting now on what, 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs, but the rest of your tiles are inside, so I don't really know whether or not that's something you'd want to approach, you know what I mean? So if you're trying to go for a hand that's just quick to win, then you probably should have discarded, like, say, the 1s and the 9s and tried to go for some type of Tanya hand. in my opinion, anyways. By keeping the 3-pin, that allows you like call the 7, for instance, and now you have the 3, 4, 5, and you call the 6, 7, 8, and you can continue working towards your hand that way.
We do have Ish on 10 for Robert now, so could still get there. Jacob shifting towards Tanyao. Ish on 10.
See, discarding that 1, so there too. Again, you could have accepted like the 5 and the 6 there, and instead of trying to hold on to trying to get that 7-pin from somewhere.
All right, Gaetano's hand coming along. Has 2 of the Dora 5 Mon.
There's a Dora 5 Mon there, and again, discards the 2 Mon.
Instead of the 1 Mon.
I'm just thinking that if you're trying to go for Tenpai here, a playable one, like you're gonna have to either start calling for K10 or pointing towards like a Tanyao-ish shaped hand.
There's the 7-pin. So if we had that 2-3-pin in hand, discard 5-mon 9-pin, we'd have a San Minchan wait for 1-4-7-pin waiting for.
Although they'd have to have not discarded the 4 either.
Oh right, yeah, because that'd be Furitan. We have Tenpai now across the way for Gaetano. 4-mon Dama. So that is the Peiko Dora 2 for Gaetano.
And you have Tenpai to your left too.
That is Honitsu. 1-so 4-so. There's only 1 4-mon left. How many 1-so are left? 1 1-so left and no 4-so. And now we have a Ricci. Discarding 5-pin. So Champon 4-pin, 7-pin. And now a Chase! This is a better weight now. Oh, but just tosses the 6-mon back. Could have upgraded the weight, I think. Maybe not.
Just discarded the 4-pin. I'm not sure if they thought the 4-pin was dangerous at that point because they went for the 4-7 Shanphone. But if had they decided to go for the Yamen weight, they would have hit.
Yeah,
I can't tell if they were spooked on the 4-7 weight or not.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not at the table. It's really hard to tell. Like there's a lot of reasons a player can make a decision. Like especially like saying that they were spooked, like it's really hard for us to gauge what might look dangerous to them. We're kind of inherently biased by our ability to see the entire table.
Yeah.
And Nathaniel saying that all of the 3-pin might have been out, and that might have been a part of the decision as well.
Okay, that's possibly fair. Again, everything was moving very fast at the end. It was kind of hard to keep track of what was still available out there.
Both Jeff and Gaetano with very nice hands here. Actually, Jacob's hand pretty good as well. The Dora is the 3-pin, and they're pretty evenly spread. There's only 1 still left in the wall, and everyone's got one except Robert. Oh, that 8-pin is such a good draw. Could go Honitsu now.
You could just go Honitsu, yeah.
Do you call the 5-pin? Chi. I don't, but do you? Nope, you don't pawn it, and Jeff gets the Chi. So now Ishan 10 for Jeff. 1 step closer for Robert on the left with that 8-pin draw.
The only issue is you're at the end of end of the first row here, and you may need to start calling because usually the general assumption is that near the end of the first row, somebody's either at Tenpai or close. So if you're not there yet, then you can consider yourself behind. And making that 5, 6, 7 Chi, I'm not quite sure about that. What do you think?
I like the 5, 6. I like the 5, 6, 7 Chi better than I like the pawn of the 5-pin. Because now that floating 5-pin is so much easier to use, and you don't have enough blocks. Like, that's like, even if you had pawned the 5-pin, you don't have enough blocks for Honitsu. Whereas now, you're Kutsuki Ishan 10. And that 5-pin that you still have because you didn't pawn it is really easy to attach to and end up Tenpai. Now, we do have 2 Richis. One on the left from Robert, waiting on the 7-mon. And that is Ricci Nomi. And then one on the right. Wait, left is Robert. Right is Gaetano. That was a Sumagiri Ricci after 4 turns Tenpai for Gaetano, waiting on the 3-mon? No, 2-mon Tanki. My bad. No, it is
See.
a 3-mon. Who's waiting on the 2-mon? Oh, that's Jeff. Jeff is waiting on 2-mon, 3-mon.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard for Gaetano to get the 3-mon, since Jeff has 2 of them.
And now Jacob's down to his 7 pin weight, of which there is 1 left.
But you could also change this weight. Are there any West left? Yeah, you could pawn the West and switch to a Tonki. Although none of the Tonki are better. Like,
Besides not
it'd be a hell weight either way. 7 deals in.
Yep.
Shouldn't be worth much. Ricci, Earl 1, that's fine. Still in first. That does bring Robert above 30k. There are so many sticks in the middle.
I mean, you're still, it's not much, but in this particular game as it stands right now, not much is actually a lot.
Yes. If you can avoid dealing in again, you're probably okay. It'll be according to how big the sumos are. Gaetano with a pretty nice hand as dealer here. I mean, no shapes in the Pinzu, but 3-peen, 7-peen is a pretty nice pair of floating tiles to have. And the Soju safes are very nice. Discarding the nice peen tiles, probably just thinking Honitsu here. A pair of the Hatsu across the table for Robert. That is also a nice hand. It's 2 Shanten, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now Ishanten. 3 separate poems that could be made to get to Tenpai. Dora is the 7-mon, and there's a pair of those in Jacob's hand on the left. It's one of 3 pairs. Now 4. I mean, that hand honestly is looking more like Chi-Toy than anything else.
Home.
Home now of the 1-mon, perhaps going Toy. 4 pairs now for Gaetano. The 8-so pawn that gets Robert to Tenpai, waiting 4-peen, 9-mon. That is Toy Hatsu. Not Toy. There's a 3-peen, 5-peen. There's a run in there. So it's just Hatsu. Hatsunomi. Now, if Robert is able to draw a 3-peen or 5-peen, which actually might not be possible. There's 1 more 5-peen left, 1 more 3-peen left, I think. Then he would be able to get the Toy.
Then he'd just be waiting on whatever pair, the 9-so pair, right?
Well, 9-mon pair and the other pair.
Well, the other pair is dead, right? Even if they draw
yeah,
that,
if he gets it, yeah.
They're not, they can't wait on it, really.
Well, he doesn't know that. Like,
yes,
they're not visible to him. Like, he would obviously take that weight. We do have Suanko Ishanten for Gaetano here.
Home.
Still not Tenpai for Jacob on the left. Kind of struggling to get there. Could have cheated to improve the rate. Robert could have. He did not. The 7-peen are locked up in Jeff's hand. 4-so, 5-so, 1 5-so cut, 1 4-so in the hand on the left. Gonna be really difficult for Gaetano to get to Tenpai here. Oh, there's a 9-mon, but it fits perfectly into Jeff's hand. 7, 8, 9. I feel like at this point you have to discard the 6-so. Yep, and does. Has taking the Tenpai. Wants to get the repeat as dealer.
Kang.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Incredible. High Tay.
They get the high Tay. They draw their furry 10 spot. Oh my god.
What on earth? That Hanamon just came out of absolutely nowhere. I look away at the chat for 1 second, and someone calls a con, someone gets a Furiton Haite Sumo. This is why we should never watch the chat. A not quite as good hand here for Gaetano. Could get Tanyao, maybe, and that's about it. On the right, though, Jeff with an Anko of Haku and a pair of the Chun. Too many shapes in hand, though. We'll have to discard something on the way to Tenpai. Robert across the way, possibly going Honitsu in the Peen.
Boom.
8 distinct terminals and honors for Jacob on the left. Could have called Chi on the 8-so to go for Sanchoku Chanta.
I think they probably would want to draw into a couple of tiles before going for that type of hand, but they do want to leave it open.
Especially with the 8-peen being pulled. Like, that's what makes it really tragic. Like, if an 8-peen gets discarded, you probably do take it because you're never going to get another chance at that Dora. We do have Tenpai on the right now for Jeff, though. 7-mon, staying Dama.
Jacob draws the last 8 pin, so just sumos that. But gives who is that? Gives Jeff a chance here to finish up their double Yakuhai hand.
Yeah, just improving the weight. Now 2-mon, 5-mon. 1 2-mon left. In 1 2-mon left, and it is in Robert's hand. 2 5-mon in the wall, and then 2 in Gaetano's hand. And there's a 2-mon. Let's go deal in. Haku-chun.
Looks like here that Gaetano first might be safe, as the other 3 are trying to fight to either get second or be over 30, or perhaps both.
I mean, the problem is 2 of the people below you still have dealerships, and so much can happen on a dealer turn, as Gaetano showed us. I mean, Haite, Sumo, Dora 3, Ipeco would put Jeff in first. 4 pairs here for Jeff.
Trying to figure out where Jeff is going to go with this hand. Probably at this point, you're hoping for Tanya Pinfu, I guess, but you may not get the Tanya side of it. So realistically, just get a hand and finish it.
Jacob's in a pretty odd spot. Like, you're right at 30K, but not quite there yet. But you don't have your dealership left. So Jacob doesn't really have a good shot at first. So Jacob's whole MO right now is going to be ending the game.
Yeah. If they can somehow win a hand here, they'd love to get a Hatsu there somewhere along the line, but actually, wait, did they have that pair of Hatsu when... They had to have had that pair of Hatsu when Gaetano discarded theirs, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jacob's hand could also just end up being Sanshoku Pinfu. Like, that hand doesn't necessarily need the Hatsu to have value. We do have the Ricci on the right. This is 4-mon, 7-mon weight for Robert, and then 4-peen, 7-peen weight across the table for Jacob. Jacob not chasing the Ricci, though.
Right, Jacob can only take the 4 because that confirms the Sancho. Never mind, there it is.
There it is. It gets it. And that puts him above 30K. Jeff probably has mixed feelings about that result. Lose your dealership, but your direct competitor for 3rd place is the person who drops the points. So you a little bit of a win, a little bit of a loss. This is an okay hand for Robert. We've talked about this kind of awkward, like 4-4-6-8-8 shape. And the 2 things that we've said about it on broadcast before is that it's better the closer to the outside it is. And it is also better the earlier in the hand it is, because that shape can produce a lot of other shapes, but it's never going to be good close to Tenpai. So that 4-4-6-8-8 shape could help Robert get into a nice Tenpai eventually. Just going to have to draw somewhere into it. There's a second Dora that's kind of hard to use.
That's Chitoi.
Yeah, you have 5 pairs now.
If it's Chitoy, why are you discarding the East? You need to discard the 6-pin. Pinzu look expensive out there.
Well, Pinzu look expensive. It is turn 4 though. Like, people still everybody except for Gaetano is mostly just discarding Eternals and Honors at this point.
Sure,
still.
but I mean,
like,
they're not even discarding a Terminal or an Honor of a Pinzu, right? So
yeah, but I mean, there's all sorts of reasons that could be. Like, I wouldn't call a suit expensive until someone is clearly Tenpai or we're in like the middle of the second row. Like, because like look at that. Like, just like that, 9-pin, 3-pin, 3-pin come out. All of a sudden, Pinsu don't look expensive at all. The only reason Pinsu look expensive early was just because, you know, some terminal has to be discarded first. It's just too early to make that call. I actually kind of like keeping the 6-pin in hand since it's wedged between your 4-pin and 8-pin. We do have a Ricci on the left from Jeff, waiting on 3-so, 6-so. That is Ricci Pinfu.
Actually puts Robert in a weird spot because they could have elected to take the Ishan 10 by discarding the Dora instead of the 8-mon, instead electing to possibly go for, I guess, a Toy hand. But now they're kind of stuck because in order for them to get Kenpai, they are going to have to discard the 9-mon too.
There you go.
They discard the more dangers of the 2, and I mean, they don't. I guess you don't have a choice. You're in the last, so you're going to be pushing regardless.
I mean, they're Ishan 10 for Suwanko, so why not?
Yeah, I should discard the 2-pin there because the East it's definitely safe for them, and the East is probably safe for everybody else. Doesn't matter.
Sumo. Ricci, Sumo, Pinfu, not quite enough to get Jeff over 30k, but still a nice way to secure the third. So a plus 27.7 for Gaetano, a nice way to make up after the hard hit in the last Han-chan. Jacob with a plus 7.3, Jeff with a minus 0.7, and Robert with a minus 28.
Gaetano gets back some of their points they had lost in the prior round, so they're again on the first. They're on the edge there of the borderline demotions, and but are definitely closer to getting themselves out for sure.
So now at the end of session 3 for this table, things looking pretty good for Jeff and Jacob. Both in the kind of promotion fight there. Jeff currently inside the promotion zone. Jacob currently slightly outside. Gaetano improved his position, trying to get out of demotion zone. Robert knows exactly what he needs to do these last 3 sessions, and that is steal everyone's points. Well, an A2 match just started. Do you want to go ahead and hop over there? There's a B3 match starting in 10 minutes. So we either take a small break and we can get a table starting right at the top, or we can go ahead and jump over to A2.
Let's see here, because we're sitting at, let's see, which table was it that it started? It was B3.
So the table that just started is Claire, Huang, Philip, and Michael.
And that's probably the second of their 2 games, right?
Well, it looks like third. Wait, hold on. Yes, that is the second of their 2 games. Hold on. Did they start the same game twice?
They've had 3
issues
times? They had issues with getting in. I had to kick during the commentary. I had to go kick them out twice because the table wasn't actually full. Somehow.
That's weird.
So that's why I was a little quiet there in the middle there, was because I was having to go back in the back end and kick them out.
Well, then I actually think this is okay. No, this is their second game. They played a game 49 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We either take a break or we go watch them. I'm good either way.
Let's just go ahead and take the break, and that we'll catch the last 2 games here of the B3.
Perfect. I'm into it. So we are going to dip out for just a second. Do hang around. We expect to be back at around 9:55. XX05, whichever hour it is for you in your time zone. 5 after the hour. There we go. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm a mathematician. My instinct is to do everything in variables. But we will see you in just a few minutes, so hang around and get a drink, and we'll meet you back here. Hello and welcome back. Things are a little all over the place at the moment, just trying to track down a player before the B3 matches can start. In the meantime, we're stepping into the middle of an A2 match here. We are currently behind our dealer Michael, sitting at 25-5 in third place. Trying to use this dealership to get above 30k before the South round is Ishan 10. Dora is the 2-mon, has none of them. However, on the left, is that Philip? I think that's Philip's handle. Is Tempai waiting on the 4-mon. Oh, we do have the Tempai from Michael now. Kanchan waiting on the 6-peen. Two of which in Philip's hand. So Philip actually could push this, although he, of course, does not know that. That dealer Richie could be spooky since we don't see any 2-mon. With none of the Dora out, you're kind of hesitant to push into a dealer Richie. Across the table is Huang, and on the right is Claire. Nathaniel, what thoughts do you got back there behind the commentary booth?
Hey, I have been enjoying your commentary, and we'll wait for everyone to come back. But yeah, in the meantime, Michael really trying to make a comeback after the last game, and looks like we'll find the Kanchan 6-pin. So hey, that's the start as dealer. Shinomi right now, but 2,000, you get to go again. Not a bad start.
As soon as you jumped in, Nathaniel, you paused the stream. It's like you want to be able to hog all the commentary for yourself. You're like, you got to commentate all the hands before this. It's my turn.
All right, it should be up there now, right?
Yes, I can see now. All is good.
Great. Oh, the woes of doing double duty as far as casting and commentating.
Well, go ahead and take the lead.
All right, well, it looks like we are into Eastward Continuance 1. Dora is the Hatsu, just gets paired up to the right by Claire. Now, this hand is a bit awkward in terms of shapes, but after discarding some of these honors, perhaps we'll turn this back into a normal hand. You see the first couple discards for Claire, 3-mon, 6-pin. Definitely not some traditional discards, but after, pairing up the Dora, you're thinking, maybe I can make something out of this. Around the table, dealer hand has 4 pairs, but also some natural shapes. So I'm curious to see if that will turn out to be a cheat toy or if it will end up turning itself into a normal hand. There's your Dora, and there's your Poe, and Claire with a Mongon showing at the table.
Yep, just gotta make all of those other shapes complete themselves. Yeah, and I was just about to say with Michael's hand, if you complete the 4-5 so Riantman before you draw another pair, you probably go a normal hand, and if you draw another pair before, you probably end up going cheat toy. Does draw the 3 so now Ishanten, almost certainly going to end up on a Champon weight as things stand right now, but that's okay. You really want to get to Tempai before Claire does. Claire, where did Kanye West go?
Yeah, this is Thursday. I'm so used to seeing Kanye and then the Shah character, but perhaps new Tenho account?
Yeah, I mean, Claire's other account is at least 4-don, and this is 8Q, so it must be a new account. I do know Claire goes by Thursday in a lot of places, so it's not unusual to see her going by Thursday. I was just Kanye West is one of, if not the best pun in the entire league, right up there with Hana Mondre.
Yeah, it's absolutely
is another
wonderful.
one of my favorites. We do Gimmick across the table as such an awkward. Oh.
That's Tempai, yeah.
Philip getting Tempai.
And the question,
4-peen.
Yeah, the question for Philip is, do you really want to reach bad weight against this open Mongon? I mean, it's probably going to push against you, and you have no defense. And now there's 2 calls, so it's even worse of a Ricci. Maybe holding here with the Tsumo, hoping to upgrade to a Pinfu that you can Dama, and because there's just not the value worth going for. In fact, you can even draw a 6-mon and Dama a Tanyao. Oh, but we'll chase. Okay. This is a bit risky, but perhaps banking on the fact that Claire doesn't have a lot of safety here and really has a hand worth pushing.
And 3-mon is Genbutsu to Claire as well. So if someone else is trying to play defense against the Mongon, could end up dealing in.
Right. Philip's hand doesn't have Dora in it. Oh, and there's the 3-pin.
Would have gotten the Kanchan at Patsumo.
Right. So the Ricci hand definitely looks cheaper.
There's a 4-peen.
Michael
could toss 8, so I mean it doesn't look safe, but all right, taking the 4-mon.
This looks like a fight. Yeah, Michael willing to push for this. Otherwise, you drop the 6-pin as Genbutsu to both. And perhaps thinking, I've got one tile in the 6-mon, but I don't have safe tiles to both after that, so maybe it's better for me to just fight here. Ishanten.
And Claire with the open Mongon has been playing really safe, has only discarded Genbutsu.
Which is quite fortunate that she was able to do so and maintain this Ishanten.
Wow, I wonder if Michael had calls off. Could have pawned the 5-pin. Perhaps, I mean, the 8 so definitely looks bad, but
And perhaps
I mean,
this...
if you're gonna fight anyway.
Yeah, perhaps the hesitation on the 7-pin discard is him turning calls on.
That I definitely do that same thing.
It happens to me quite frequently as well. 2-pin is safe. There we
5-pin
go.
is
We'll
safe.
see. Thinking.
Boom.
Does
Calls
want
was
it.
definitely turned on.
All right, so this is Tenpai for Michaels on the same 4-pin that Philip is looking for, as well as the 6-mon. So 3-6 Suji and the 4-pin.
Both of the 6-mon still in the wall.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
There was a 11% chance a 6-mon was drawn by
Oh!
Michael. And it doesn't. Oh, the 3-mon! The high tay! That's the second high tay on stream.
And Ura. So that Riichi Nomi ends up becoming a Mongon somehow. It took Haite and an Ura. But if that's what it takes, you'll absolutely accept it.
Yeah, and now you're a very nice 10K in the lead. This is a much better position to be going into South 1 as. And if you're Michael, you gotta really be feeling like, come on, like got Tenpai, you were safe from dealing in. You also have to pay the Oyakabari. You've gotta pay more points.
Fought so hard and now in danger of falling to 3rd even. But Claire, as dealer with 2 Dora and 4 pairs, interesting. Will this turn into a Tanya with a bunch of Dora, or will you aim for the G-Toy?
I feel like I feel like
well, now 5 pairs. You can still hedge both ways.
yeah,
like even just a
9P
Riichi
discard
hand.
for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah, 2 away from Tenpai here with excellent shapes for just a Pinfu Ipeiko Dora 2, or maybe not Dora 2 if you go the Pinfu route, depending on what you draw. So
that's awkward.
You can drop something like the 4-pin, and if you get Tenpai on the 2-pin, you can just accept the Dora discard here.
I'd rather drop the 3-pin, because if you could still use that second, even with Pinfu, you could still use that second 6-pin if you draw, say, the 5-pin.
Right.
The discard 4-pin, and then you have Pinfu Ipeiko. On the left, though, a San Minchan wait for Michael. Riichi Pinfu Dora 1, 2, 5, 8 wait.
Yeah, that's a great Riichi.
Still 6 left in the wall.
Definitely expect to win this one.
5 left in the wall, sorry.
And the other hand's not looking bad either. Here's another interesting draw for Gimmick. We'll take the Riichi.
Gimmick chases.
1-mon, 2-mon, Shampon. Those are all in the wall.
I don't know the number of times I've seen Gimmick not chase.
Far.
There's the 2-mon! Oh no!
Oh, and that's just the absolute worst. You had such a great Riichi, and instead you deal into the chase. Only 2,600, but that is enough to exchange places. And so Gimmick now in 3rd place with the dealership will attempt to make it over 30,000 in the South 2 round. And
This is a really nice starting hand.
Absolutely. 2 completed shapes already and a pair. The only floating tile you really have is the 2-pin, but your other honors are both value honors.
Yeah, you're definitely not gonna scoff at this one. Claire really. Oh, it gets the South.
Ishanten would be
Claire was
super tricky wait if upon reaching
yeah.
Tenpai. But yeah, you're talking about Claire's Dora 2 probably.
Claire has 2 Dora. With that 2 Dora, had to think really hard about that second discard. Could have started cutting So and Pin tiles to go for the Honitsu, make it a very easily callable hand, but wants to take the more efficient route to make sure those Dora become valuable. Actually ends up with a second pay though, so could just get pay, could get Honitsu still, along with those Dora.
And 1 north has just been cut, so we'll need the final one. But if you draw, especially around that lonely one mon, you might end up shifting to the Honitsu. But here we go, completing the
Goodbye.
6-7. So, oh my goodness, there's the reach, drawing the south yourself, and that gives you the good weight, the 5-8 mon, which can accept Dora. So Ricci non. Now, despite how good
There's
the weight
pay. Does Claire probably calls?
with 2 Dora,
Claire
it would
call?
make sense, but to pass it.
Doesn't.
Now this
No,
is a
no,
bit
but now-
tricky because if you deal into a dealer Mangan, you swap places, right?
Yeah, that would hurt.
And the weight not as good as you might expect. We can see there's only one tile remaining in the wall. It's the last Dora 5 mon.
Yeah, Claire taking advantage of having 2 safe tiles, and there's that final 5 mon coming into Philip's hand.
So Gimmick drawing dead here, but if someone decides to chase, we might see perhaps an 8 mon come out. We would probably have to leave
Gee.
Michael's hand, and there's the chase, but it looks like Michael's going for Chinitsu, so that... I don't think any mon tiles are coming out now.
Well, that's Tenpai, actually. It's not, there's no Yaku, but might as well take the Tenpai if you're pushing anyway.
Oh, this could get awkward. If Michael chooses to go for the Itsu, Dora 1, then you'd say Chi the 9 mon and drop the 8 mon right into the Ricci.
That's one of those situations where you can definitely get yourself into trouble if you get too clever.
And now drawing on the 3-6 Suji. Still thinks it's good enough
Jeez.
to push. Perhaps an act of desperation after having gotten unlucky twice in a row. I mean, the hand's good too. Chinitsu Dora 1 would be a Hanemon. Back into Tenpai now. Dancing around. There's only 5 draws remaining.
Eek. 1 mon. Or 1 so is what that is. Does not look good.
Pushes
Doesn't
it
deal in
though. And we'll have final draw, so we'll have a choice to make at the very end. 6 mon.
6 isn't awful. It's yeah. No 9 mon has been discarded. I really thought someone had discarded 9 mon, but they haven't.
Yeah, it was before the Ricci, and do you want to push it? No, finds the
Don't
wrong one.
Pushes the 8.
Another.
So Hote now.
Oh, the Urasan!
Urasan for Hog! Oh my god!
And
No!
that is the max punishment. Yeah, it was such a tough decision. There was almost nothing safe. Unfortunately, found the wrong one, but Gimmick, with such a great starting hand, managed to pull out a Hanemon, and now is in second place, fighting Philip for first.
With 2 Dora!
2 Dora and 3 great shapes. This could be another massive hand for Gimmick. To the right, Philip has the Hatsu pair, would love to call and just win 1,000 points and end this dealership, but Mochi Mochi with Claire on the left. Claire doesn't have a that bad of a hand either. 2 away from
Hey,
Tenpai.
Nathaniel, do a quick refresh of the player stat screen. We have multiple Claires. And also all of those Claires have Kanye West written on them. Anyway. Well, guess that's just 3 pairs. This is always such a tricky situation. You have like that guest win Dora pair. I just never have any clue what to do with that. It
Yeah.
does look like it's going to be easier for, say, Michael to get Tenpai first. That is perfect Ishan 10 across the way. Philip does not like Chitoy. Was Ishan 10 and tosses it back.
Ooh, that's a nice pickup. When you have multiple pairs and you draw an Onko, it really helps your shapes. Ishan 10 for dealer now. Love a 5 mod, but 2 of those in Claire's hand. And Michael desperate for that 8 pin.
Daniel, the screen's paused for me again. Thank you.
Well, hopefully we don't have multiple Claires now.
Yes, there. I only see one Claire.
Excellent. Yeah, oh, there's the punish. Yeah, the 8-mon's so awkward because a lot of times you can improve the shape around it, but in this case, since you've already discarded the 9-mon, perhaps retaining the 4 was slightly stronger.
Boom.
But still a pretty nice Ishan 10, and there the Hatsu finally discarded by Claire, allowing Philip the opportunity to find Tempai. Very nice weight. 1-mon, 4-mon, 3-pin.
On Tonsu.
Chi.
And we see the Ricci. Michael able to get the Sanshoku still. This is a 258 weight. Now we saw this before. 258 did not pay out the last time. In fact,
There's actually only one more 8-pin left in the wall. According to how Philip pushes here, this could favor Claire, who is waiting on 5-so, 8-so. Ooh, what does Huang do here?
just drops
All right,
the Dora.
I mean, it is a once-cut honor.
Oh, is there a North out there?
Yeah, Philip cut one. Claire could keep
You're
Tempai
right.
tossing the 4-so. I mean, you lose your Sanshoku, but it's safe, which has value.
And Claire has been dancing around these Ricci's quite a bit today. It seems very much able to push a little bit whilst also playing pretty defensively as well.
Yeah, the comfort of being 70 points above third place. Claire's in a very, very good place in standings. Oh no! Gimmick tosses the 2-so.
Yeah, it became Suji after Claire discarded the 5. And so nice pickup there for Claire, stealing the Ricci stick away and advancing a little bit closer to second place.
And Michael, at this point, I gotta feel for him. I mean, you've had 2 San Minchan 258 weights that have both lost. Like, that's just tragic.
Yeah, absolutely going to have nightmares about the 258 pin weight. As it is, we move to Philip's dealership in South 3. Now actually might be, if you're way in the lead, you're not too worried about losing your dealership, but the other players just continue to keep pressing forward, and you might need a few more points to secure your first tier. So the hand shape, not amazing for a dealer continuance here. Lots of Kanchan shapes and a Penchan, but there's a door in hand. And where there's a door, there's an opportunity for some value. Michael on the right, just hoping for anything at this point. Perhaps a chance at a 789 Sanshoku. Across the table, Claire with a Tempai. Ricci, Dora. Waiting on that door to So.
Single weight on the Dora is always fascinating. Like, I don't know. One of the things, my favorite benefit of waiting on Dora is not that my hand has more value. Oh my god, Michael tosses it in Patsu round!
And the Una makes it a Mangan. Well, things just went from bad to worse for Michael, but you have a dealership now. And you've got to make something out of it.
Oh, it was a misclick.
Oh no!
Those are the worst. We actually had the exact same thing happen in last night's commentary. We were just really baffled by a discard towards the end of one of the Hanchan, and then we were informed by a player later that it was a misclick. And it's one of those things that just happens when you're playing online sometimes, like, especially if you're forced to play mobile. It's just so easy for something to just slightly slip.
Yeah, earlier today we also had a player with connection issues that was pretty devastating as well. So some issues that are unique to online Mahjong crop up here and there, but I have to make the best of it.
There are 10 total pairs around the table, in case you were curious.
Thank you for that bit of trivia. And one more added to the total now as Gimmick pulls in another. Wonder if this will turn into Chitoy after all.
That's a good pull for Philip on the left. Ishan 10 now. Gonna be hard to end up with a good weight, but you can still pull in the Hatsu and just end things.
Absolutely.
Winning on the Hatsu would be enough for first.
Would you even Otozuke call a 4-mon or a 3? So.
Absolutely.
And so it
I
seems
would.
likely that this game will end fairly quickly.
Ooh, there's a 5-so though. Probably toss the Formon. Yeah.
Now we do see two Dora in Claire's hand to the right. This is a chance to just increase the lead right now. Only 200 points over Philip.
Not very close to
Gee.
Tenpai though. Yep, there's the Otozuke. Just waiting on the Hatsu now.
Imagine a 5-mon coming out. Oh, sorry, 5-pin. And Ishanten here for Michael. If you can get the Ricci stick out, maybe something can happen. Now switches it up a little bit. There is a world where you draw the 3-so now in Heavy Peiko.
So a nice little shift there.
Hatsu yet to be seen, still in the wall. Claire fails in a Kanchan.
Oop. That's helpful.
2 away from Tenpai now.
Got just now 2 Shanten.
The shape improves yet again in the Mon. For Michael, again, the 1-2 shape so hard to win on, especially with 2 of the 2-so discarded by Toyman.
Well, and now Claire taking the opening her hand. Is there a path to a Yaku here?
I'm not
Oh, there's
seeing
the
it.
Hatsu!
And yeah, that
Boom.
Hatsu will deal in. And
So
so it
that-
ends.
That will settle it. So Philip will get a first here. I mean, Huang, Michael, and Philip were all right next to each other in the standings. So
Right.
this is going to kind of determine their placement among each other. Philip, the winner, that plus 30 gets him almost all the way up to promotion range. The cut line in A2 is rather low. Because of people having to leave, because of personal things coming up, because of the way the subs have played, there's actually 166, or it might have been more than that. I calculated it the other day. There's between 150 and 200 more negative points in A2 than there are positive. So
What a stat.
that is why these standings look so awkward. That loss for Michael, I mean, just so many tragic things happening in a row. Like, none of that was Michael's fault.
Yeah, the
You have
2-5-8
two-
pin, I would be so
Twice?
tilted if that happened twice. Then right into a misclick deal in.
Yeah,
That is so unfortunate.
It's one of those games where, like, if there was still another Hanchan to be played, I'd be sending my group a message like, I will not be playing the last Hanchan. We'll have to schedule for another day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Huang, though, with a small win, getting into the positives now. So Philip and Huang trying to get within reaching distance here of the promotion zone will have a good shot in the next session, session 4.
And yeah, this was the final match of this table. The B3 game is slated to begin momentarily. We can go ahead and prepare the names for that. And who's slated to play for this B3 matchup?
This is Jamin, Daniel, Dave, and Henry.
Okay, Dave, Daniel. Gonna add Henry in just a second.
You found those names insanely quickly out of a roster of 36.
And I'm not sure Jay is going to be here, as I believe Jay is the substitute at this table.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, is Jay the like Australian 8 Dan player?
So good luck, B3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, I know I've seen him commentate a Ricci Nomi tournament before, I think.
Yes, as well as the Australian league. And in a second, we're going to hop over into the game, which has just started. And you'll see Jay, the only 2100 rated player at the table.
Yeah. I mean, like and this is a weird thing about B3, even if we didn't have a random, like, professional Australian at the table, like, that's the weird thing about the lowest division, is you're gonna have people who have been there the entire tenure of the ARML, who have just kind of been pushing it out, getting better there. And you're also gonna have people who are incredibly good, but are just now joining the ARML. So it's not like this is a situation that would never occur naturally.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the members at this table currently, Dave B, head of the USPML.
Yes, yeah.
So definitely a lot of experience at this table.
These hands, though, not looking incredible. I mean, Jay's hand is nice. Like, you can get Itsu, but
Dream a little
you're
bit
kinda-
more. How about?
you're
Let's
you're
try another
relying on
one
bad face.
mon,
You're
another
thinking
9
about
mon.
Churin?
Yeah, why not?
It's true. That's true. Anytime, like, the hardest part of Churin are the ones and the nines. So when you have a bunch of Monzu or whatever, it only counts if it's Monzu.
Yeah,
if
right.
you have like 2 of the ones and 2 of the nines, you do feel like, ooh, this could be the closest I ever get in my life.
And as it is, one of the one mons already discarded. Another one soon to follow, it looks like. And so
There
the
it
Chunin
goes.
Dream is dead.
Open Churin.
Right? That's still a Mongon.
Each.
Ricci now on the right from Daniel. This is going to be waiting on the 3-mon. It is Ricci Nomi.
Trying to see if I can find like a name I can use as a substitute here. Let's just put in.
We need to have a gag player in the stat screen.
Yeah, usually the substitute players' names are there for us to put in, but not this time. So we'll have Cesar, who isn't actually playing currently. We does have a substitute in this case. Now the Ricci here, just the 3-mon, and actually there aren't even any on the table yet. They are all on the wall.
Each.
And we'll see a chase here on the 3-pin for Ricci Dora 1. So Ricci Nomi versus Ricci Dora 1. Neither
Only
weight
one
is
of the
very
3
good.
pin. Well, I mean, that 3-mon weight feels pretty good with all of them in the wall. There
Yeah.
it is!
And Uda
No
found.
Ura. The Ricci sticks helping the value there.
Will allow the dealership to shift forward as well.
Could get a 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku if you just draw around that 5-mon. Can't accept the Dora 4-pin. But the faster hands might be across the table and to the right. Dave holding the pair of Chun and has nice Sozu shapes. And the Hatsu already called by Henry, discarding the pay.
It doesn't look like an attempt at a Honitsu, as you already have a nice 7-8 diamond shape in the soul, as well as a Dora connected tile in the 2-pin. And you've discarded your lone honors early. So just aiming for a fast hand here. The hand to the left also looks pretty nice too. With the Dora in hand, possible for Ipeko as well. Ishanten now.
Yeah, that's actually it. Before that 1-pin was drawn, I was gonna point out it could be hard to see the Ryancon
right.
hidden in the pinsu there, but you have a complete 3-4-5 pin, and then a 1-3-5 kind of layered on top of that. So that's actually a fairly nice shape. Now with the extra 1-pin, I don't know what to say about it anymore. Now the 1-pin is just your pair, I guess, and you have a pair and a Ipeko. Henry is thinking about calling that 8-mon. Does.
Yes.
Tossing the 9-mon.
Still 2 tiles away from Tempai. Ideal draws would be something like the 3-pin, so that you can accept the door, or just the door itself. As it is, there's not a lot of value here. It looks like Dave is making the shift to the Honitsu here. But now 3 calls for Henry. So players around that table will be expecting a Tenpai here. It is not, but it certainly looks like it.
Oh yeah, I mean with the 9-mon, 5-mon discard. But when they're about to see, well, okay, yeah, this is the issue. A non-Manzu Tadashi is gonna be so suspicious. Everyone's gonna say, "Hold on a second."
Yeah, and maybe for that
Is
reason.
Tenpai? Yes, it
yeah,
is.
Nice.
Discard
So we'll be a
3-peen. Oh, 5-peen. Okay,
Yep,
makes sense.
This will
Get
be a
Pinfu.
3/6, so wait.
Richie Pinfu Dora 1.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you are in Henry seat, because you're lacking a pair, you will want to hold on to that 4-pin and just draw another Dora. But maybe was trying to put pressure on the table in the sense of faking a Honitsu Tenpai. And now a little bit of a backfire as the Dora is paired up, would be Tenpai here, and ends up just pushing it. With all of these recent pin discards, feels that the Dora is a safe enough discard. And indeed is correct. Well, this is dealer Daniel now finding Ishanten, Richie Pinfu, potential Tanyao.
There's still 5 3-so 6-so left in the wall.
Interesting choice here. Drops the 9-mon and now could even get 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, as you alluded to at the beginning of the hand. Tenpai now for Henry finally finds a path. Discards the Suji 3-mon and waits on the Chun. Of course, we can see
So
an ongoing Chun
pushing
to the
might
right.
benefit Dave here. I mean, because if you stop pushing, you might be tempted to throw away those June.
Right. Now, Dave also has the 9 so currently, and the 3-mon, so should be able to find a way to Tenpai. Now that the 4-mon save has
Sumo.
all the tiles
Oh.
needed. But
Sumo.
just Sumo. And an Ura. No, but that's still a nice 5,200 pickup for Jay.
That will overtake first as we go into East 3.
Will be Dave's first dealership in this Hanchan. Not a bad starting hand. Nice inner tiles, good shapes all around. So perhaps he'll aim for a Richie Tanyao. Love to get Pinfu in there. Interesting choice here. Even discards the 6-mon early,
Whoa.
as there was no pair in this shape. So just maximizing the chance to draw one. And you also get to incorporate another potential block in the 1-2-mon.
I don't know. Early in a hand, I love that 5, 6, 6, 7. The Nakabukure shape. You can think of it as 2 Rionmen. You can draw into an Apeko. There's 4 different tiles you can draw that give you a complete run and a Rionmen.
Yeah, I suspect it might be a statistical decision on speed to Tenpai.
There's
But
the 8.
here's a moment where you wish you had that 6 right back. The other
I mean,
hands,
this Nobitan is still good.
Yeah.
Like you might end up for a 10, but it's still fine. Like that's a good thing to have. Tuso Tenpai
yeah, across
for
the table.
Jay.
Not willing to declare the early Richie here. There's no Dora visible just yet. And there is the chance to improve the weight or even work your way into a 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. Might even throw away the
Katakiri
Tenpai right
Richie.
here. Yeah.
Yep, does do what you said. Tosses away the 1-so. This is something we've talked about a lot before, where often if you have a Tenpai that you are not willing to call Richie on, it is just better to have a wider Ishanten that could get you something valuable. Here, you could still get that 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku even.
Absolutely. And it is a little bit tricky with so many of the 7-so being discarded, but there's still the world where that happens. Now, for the 3-so, you'd love to see a 4-so.
Oh, that'd be nice.
The 2-so is a little bit of a rougher draw on the 3-so. I'm not sure you want that Shampoo weight. But the 5-mon is such a great tile. There's the 4-so.
There it is!
So now
You called it!
will we see the Richie for Richie Pinfu or just a Dama here? Just a Dama. Again, doesn't see the Dora. Maybe he's
Yeet.
wondering where they are. Henry will take the Richie.
Thankfully, discards the West and not one of those 5-so.
It would have been tragic
Uh,
to deal in.
There's only one more 2-so left for Jay. There are 4,
Sumo.
2 and 5 pin. There's one of them.
Just
Each
sumo.
sumo. God, we have seen so much of this today. And a meaningless Ura, but it still feels good.
Pad the Ura stats a little bit.
Daniel back in first.
Here we go. Henry's dealership. East 4. First chance at this. Has a door 9 pin just sitting there kind of lonely in the hand, but we wouldn't mind another pair. And if you're pairing up the door, I feel like you'd be pretty happy with that. So the other shapes are pretty great as well. Not bad start for the dealer. To the right, there's a potential Itsu chance in the Pinsu and a way to incorporate the door 9 pin. Across the table looks like a fairly standard Ricci or Tanya type hand. And then to the left, Dave is working with 3 pairs. The shapes are a bit awkward in this hand. Perhaps the one I'd like to start with the least out of all of these. And there's a world where you end up in Tanyao, though, and start calling your way to just move this dealership along.
Getting repeats is just so valuable. Especially, I mean, it's always valuable, but in Akanashi, when your hands are going to tend to be smaller, winning small dealer hands really does mean a lot.
Here's an interesting spot for Henry, where you are Ishanten and missing a pair. Now, you don't need to pair up a tiles like the 7 pin or 9 pin. You could draw the 8 so now. Sorry, 8 pin and discard away from your so shape like the 4 or 7.
Hold on. No, I was trying to think if you could make the 4 so your Tenpai there, but doesn't want to discard Dora.
Yeah, you by accepting the 6 so you give yourself a chance at Tanya Pihu, but the problem is you've already dropped the 8 so, and you could end up Hudi 10 there. So it just decides to hold on to the current shapes. Somehow Dave has worked this hand into a marvelous Ishanten. Very quickly too. Can still call for the Tanyao, should things go that way, and discard the Dora. But currently, Yankan, Yanman, Ishanten. Oh, that's an upgrade for Henry. But you have to drop the Dora.
Dora, yeet. You can get 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku now.
Oh!
No!
Okay, I
It's
think
fine.
if you're willing to keep the Dora there, I think I prefer dropping the 3 pin instead. Because that still gives you the most number of Tenpai tiles. You still have the 4, 7 pin draws for the Nobutan shape, and you discard the Dora for Ricci Tanyao. And you could still pair up the 9 pin and get the 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, discarding the 4 pin. There's just a lot of ways to get extra value there.
It is, but like the only way you're reasonably going to be able to use the 9 pin is if you pair it up, because you can see 3 8 pin.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to draw the 8 pin into the 9 pin, and I don't want to have to discard the 9 pin later. Like the 9 pin with none on the table, now there's 1. Like it's pretty. It is not unthinkable that someone would end up Chi Toy Doratanki or like a Dora Champon if they were to call Ricci. And as a defensive player, I really like getting the kind of guaranteed value of, even if you don't have Pinfu, like having a shot at Tanyao, Pinfu, Sanshoku. Like you could discard a 4 so. Like if I was going to keep the 9 pin, I'd probably toss the 4 so first.
Yeah, I think discarding the 9 pin there was maximum efficiency. And if you're committing to keeping the Dora, then 3 pin is probably the second best choice here.
That does make sense to me.
Yeah, and
there's 5 pin.
And again, showing the commitment to this shape. Is there a 7 pin? 7 pin is not available to be drawn. 9 pin is not available either. So really, just even the last 8 pin is not available. So kind of drawing dead here. Needs to fill in that Mon shape. We're getting close to the end of the hand. Only 11 tiles remaining, so might even consider opening for Tanyao or just really a Tenpai to be able to continue the dealership.
I mean, 2 full rows of Sumagiri never feel good.
Yeah. Dave has found a path to Itsu here. Itsudora 1. holding on to all the 5s and 8s that Henry needs. And the draw's just not coming together here. 4 tiles remain now. You'll note Jay here holding tiles that can be called with pawn, just increasing the number of potential draws or pseudo draws, if you will, from other players' discards. Does not end up finding Tempai here. And
Oh, does!
Daniel just pulls it together. The last will be the only player Tempai here.
You were talking about Jay's hand that whole time, and I was just like dead watching Daniel. Like, oh, he got the call. He's doing the same thing. And
Right.
he drew the 1 bean.
I was gonna say the last chance is Daniel, and he pulled it in. And now it's Dave across the table, starting with the 2 Dora 7. So that's the first thing that caught my eye here. But of course, we should look at our dealer in South 1. Second dealer chance for Jay. Not bad. You've got a completed shape and some good blocks and floaters. You can draw another door and make use of it. So
Couple of Hatsu and Henry's hand on the left.
and we've seen Henry is willing to go open, even if it's for a small value hand. At least would put a little bit of distance between you and Dave and work your way a little bit closer to 3,000. But as we get deeper into the South round, you start to call that less and less when you feel like you need the points from Ricci. Even thinking about
Dave's
the
slimming down a little
Otozuke.
bit. Ooh, 7 mons, nice draw.
Yes.
Ooh, 2 peen.
That's a beautiful fill. And now the hand's looking really great for Jay.
What do you discard? Two mon? Okay, 8 mons. Glue it. Well,
That's really interesting. So
why
this
8
is
mon?
this is a play to potentially make Ipeko in the lower Monzu. And you also have a really good floater in the 5 so.
Yeah, the 5 so is really nice.
It looks bad because you would have drawn into Tempai here, but at the same time, it is quite interesting and it's seeking value, right?
It would have been an awkward tempai. Like, I never really like
Each.
Arianman 2-5.
Yeah.
And that's a nice weight. 4 so, 7 so, Ricci Pinfu Dora 1, possible Dora 2 if you went on the 7 so. That's a good hand to have.
Yeah, this is pretty ideal. The only issue here is that your discard pool looks like you need a so tile here, and that is absolutely the case. So it might be a little bit difficult to see that discarded, but today is just Sumo Thursday, so.
And that's been working out pretty well for everyone else.
Home.
3 4 so, 7 so left in the wall. We have a Palm from Dave and a Tempai from Henry. Henry waiting on 5 peen, 8 peen. Dave, not Tempai yet.
Oh, just found it.
Oh, there it is. 3 so, 6 so.
So Tanya Dora 2 for 3,900 is Dave's hand. Oh, just
Gets it.
Sumo. We'll pick up the Ricci stick as well and the Homba. And this is going to put Dave in pretty good position to move over 30,000. In fact, claims second place temporarily as we move into South 2.
Yeah, and pull and also helps out Daniel a little bit by making Daniel the only person above 30K.
Interesting. Yeah, Ishanten here already for dealer after the first discard.
Jeez.
I want to see a Sashoku. I want to see 345 Sashoku.
Let's see. Draw 5 peen, drop 2 mon.
Could even Ricci that 2-mon. Oh, you could even call this, but I think you probably don't. Let the first one pass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Otozuke Sanshoku personally. Like, Sanshoku's fun and all, but I don't like my Sanshoku being uncertain.
Yeah,
At least if it's open.
Yeah, especially when the winning tile is in the middle, like a 5. It would be the 5 pin in this case. Definitely a little bit harder to see coming out. Oh,
Jay making a shift towards Honitsu on the left, in the Dora suit, no less.
yeah, could
Ooh,
end up
that-
getting expensive.
Okay. Going for the headless Ishanten is Daniel here.
And the second opportunity to call, but this time definitely not going to take it now that the 2 pin has been discarded. Just Ishanten since the first discard, and now even wider.
Wait, you could really get a 1 2 3 Sanshoku too now.
Each.
This way. There's
Accepts.
Tempai though. You're just gonna take it. Ricci Pinfu.
Waiting 3-mon, 6-mon. 4 left in the wall. That is the same suit that Jay is going for. Jay has a save 9 pin to start with. So this could be
Only-
trouble.
Only three. Only three left in the wall.
Oh, right, there is one in hand. I forgot to count that one.
I always forget to count those two. Oh no, the one beam!
What did
If you
you
wait-
Sachoku?
If you wait for one turn for absolutely no reason at all, you would have
Oh!
had it.
There it is.
Oh my god.
The last
What's
3
it-
mon.
The weight here is 9 mon,
4-7.
6 mon. Oh no, 7 mon. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, 9 mon,
9,
4,
4,
and
7.
7. Oh, and even cons. Oh, and there's the 7.
Oh,
This is going to be a hooful hand. 40. And that's 5,200 going Jay's way. This makes things really tight. In fact, Jay claims first place after that.
by 200 points.
And we move to Sal 3. Dave, this is your chance to go on a run. I mean, look, the scores have evened out in first place with even a reasonable 340 hand. You can claim first place. Take
Yeah,
it
and
over.
that actually helps Henry quite a bit because even though you're in last, you could pretty easily overtake first in your dealer turn. Same is true for Dave here, who has a very nice starting hand. One of the Dwarf Orso, very nice Rionman shapes. Could even get some sort of Sanshoku around the 4, though that's incredibly unlikely.
Henry on the right, working the way towards an Itsu. So headless at the moment. Toyman, Jay, reasonable shapes here, but just not a lot of value to accompany it. And pairing up the 3-pin makes Junchan that much more difficult. Oh, he's still thinking about the Junchan. Discards the 3-so. It is the Dora indicator, and it's hard to use the 3-so twice in the hand. So this does make some sense. And on the left, an Anko of 2-pin might lead this hand to become a Tanya, especially with a Dora in hand.
Hatsu just kind of chilling. There it goes.
Dave holding on to both the 4 and 7 mon here, as well as the 2-so. If you start to discard, your mon tiles too early, then you could end up in a situation where you've discarded them all, and you can no longer accept mon tiles for the rest of the game. And the 2-so helps because it can incorporate a Dora and even build towards an Itsu. But now that the shapes are coming together, decides to discard it, especially since we're in the second row and that tile's Dora adjacent. Oh, it draws into it again.
Actually, now like something like a 4-5-6 Sanshoku looking a little bit more likely.
Absolutely. And
There's a 3-pin.
you've drawn back into it. That is Ishanten.
All right, now do you toss 7 mon? Who tosses the 4 mon first? Okay, taking the safer discard first. Although, I don't know, with a couple of 4 mon on the right,
If you
2 mon
draw,
and 5 mon across the way.
the 6 will change things a little bit. I was going to say, if you draw the 3-6, do you just declare the Sudi Trap Ricci on the 7? Tonki, it doesn't feel the greatest. Feels like you can wait around and get a better weight.
And more value, I think, would be... There's oh no.
Yeah, still super wide. You should. Yeah, this is that scenario. You
Boom.
drop your mon tiles, and now everything else.
That 2 is just really being a bugger.
Keeps coming back.
Jay Ishanten across the table. Just for like a standard Pinfu hand.
It needs the right pin tile. 8-pin would be ideal here. We can see those are all in hand or discarded. Again, Henry,
Ooh.
still Ishanten. Well, this should be Tempai.
It's not. It's not.
You can drop the 7-pin, and your pair is the 9-mon here.
Oh, because you have an Anko of the 9-pin.
Yeah, but decides against it, interestingly. Perhaps there's some concern that after the pawn of the 8-mon, that would be Daniel, is going for a hand that contains Dora. You can
Yeah,
see,
the
7
no Forso visible.
and yeah, just playing it safe. 9-pin, 9-pin, 9-pin. We'll try to find, or 9-pin, 9-pin. We'll try to find, or maintain this Tempai all the way to the end.
One.
1
Finally Tempai,
Well-
but you have to drop Dora. And it does pass. Well, it's not rolled on at least. We'll see if it gets called. And yeah, Henry will take it.
So Henry's Tempai waiting 4-7, no Yaku. Jay's Tempai waiting 2-pin, 5-pin, no Yaku. And Daniel is Tempai waiting East Tonki, no Yaku. The 5-pin, though, does deal into Dave.
Fortunately, just Richi Pihu.
And now we have 3 players above 30k.
Yeah, so that's not an ideal result for Henry, but you can understand trying to maintain the Tempai with the point standing. If you can get an extra 1,500 points, something along those lines, and a dealer continuance, you're still climbing your way closer into a positive score. Unfortunately, didn't pan out, but on the other hand, didn't get punished terribly much for pushing the 5-pin.
I was gonna comment that this hand looked like such a nice Chanta, but the first 2 draws, it doesn't look as nice anymore.
Yeah, now
Tossed
you're.
the West and the 9-pin, drew a 4 and a 6.
How hard do you think about Honitsu if you pair up one of these honors?
Not very hard at all, but that's just me. I might toss the Forso, just to let it happen. But I really don't like tossing away blocks.
Yeah, and perhaps Dave willing to break the 9-7. The Kanchan near the edge isn't always amazing. Now starting to pair things up. 4 pairs now. Really in just an awkward spot. You don't know what direction your hand wants to go. Could just end up being something like Ipeko or even Gianpeko. How about that?
Oop, there's an East.
And decision made. 7, so discarded. This is going to be Honitsu. At this point, if a
no
6...
Hatsu call from Daniel.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Daniel Ishanten, though, with reasonable shapes, likely to call the second one if it is to come out.
I don't know. If I'm Dave, Hatsu's definitely better value wise, but Ishanten for Chitoi into first row, it's starting to get late. You're in kind of a tough situation.
Perhaps there's some consideration for the player to your left if you feel like they're willing to discard your tiles. There's another 6-mon. I think we won't see a chi. And what a pass. This is actually Ishanten now.
Yeah, and Ishanten for Chitoi even.
Could go a lot of ways at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a super, super wacky Ishanten.
I thought,
Yeet.
there was a Richi.
9-mon Hatsu, one of each left.
It's such a tricky weight being once cut. That's Suji.
I mean, a once cut Suji, I'd toss 9-mon if I didn't have any Genbutsu.
Yeah, 9-mon does feel very strong here. No Dora visible to Dave. Oh, there's a Khan.
Flips the 4-mon as Dora, which he has 2 of.
So this is a Hanuman now. Already has 3 of the 4-pin.
Casual Hatsu Dora 5.
If you can grab the right pin tile. And Dave doesn't want anything to do with this Richi anymore. Bails out on the east. Kind of unfortunate. Henry discards the east right after. And this is Tempai. 6-9 pin. If you drop the 5. Doesn't want it.
Or possibly doesn't see it.
It is a bit of a tricky shape. 5 doesn't exactly look safe either. Yeah, might be committed to drawing around that much shape. Another Khan!
Now
Haku!
we have. Oh god, the Haku is Dora now.
Oh, but the Hatsu's drawn!
Hatsu
Oh my goodness!
deals in with 9 Dora in hand.
Gudora 9, but that is a Mongon because of all the who from the con. And the rich get richer. That is Daniel, who is now in a pretty dominant first place with 42,000 points. What have you got for us,
Oh my
Henry? Your
God.
last dealership. It's time to put something together. It's looking rough with this high pipe, but at least you have an Onko and a Diamond Sheep of the Pinzu.
Just a quick comment about the score situation. Daniel's first. You said a dominant first. It's not super dominant, but it is 100 points good enough so that Jay cannot steal first with a Mongon Ron on someone else. But both Dave and Jay could steal first with a Mongon Sumo. Actually, that's not even true. Mongon Sumo by Dave would still be second. Mongon Sumo by Jay, though, is good.
And Jay, starting with a Chun pair and a Dora, has the potential for a Mongon Sumo. All you need is Richi +1, a Sumo, and an Ura. And definitely has that right now. Henry building into the blocks needed for a Richi, so can get Tempai. And just hope. Across the table. Daniel still working with some pretty nice shapes here. We haven't seen the Haku come out yet, but I expect we'll see it called if it does. Might even see an Otozuke call if, say, the 6-pin or 8 so comes out.
Home.
Instead, Jay
Taking the tune.
moves away from the Chun pair from Jay, but Jay, the Mochi Mochi situation will favor Dave here. Dave
Is that
angles.
Chun Sanshoku Chanta?
Yeah. Chanta and Dora,
Dora
as well.
1?
That's a Mongon.
Yeah, Mongon Sumo for second, or direct hit anybody for second, direct hit Daniel for first.
Did you just see what Henry pulled off? This is Suanko Ishanten. Technically, Tempai doesn't
my
want
God.
it. He wants the Suanko.
This is the Sananko tip by waiting on 8mon.
Could call the
No,
roll.
I didn't.
But no, we're greeting for more.
How are we looking on that? I see 1, 2.
The 7
all
mon,
of the 7mon are out.
one of the 9 mon out. And one discarded. One in hand and one discarded. So not looking promising there, but the 3-pin is still in the wall. Oh, but that's Sumo. And that will end the Suanko dreams. Didn't even have the chance to run for Sananko. Such a shame, but that was a very nice hand built together by Dave.
Also a shame for Dave, because if Henry had tossed out the Ricci stick,
I think
that would have been a tie.
Yeah. A tie for first place, so they would have split the Uma in that situation. However, without that Ricci stick, it will be Daniel who finishes on top with the plus 25.4. Dave in second place, 14.4. It's a very nice pickup as well. JR Substitute finishes in third place. And Henry, I would have loved to see that Suanko in the final hand, but unfortunately fell just a little bit short. And I believe we will be having a second match.
It has not started yet.
Okay, so we'll put that on hold. Perhaps another check to see if the substitute will need to play again. Oh, I'm sorry, I had the game wrong. That was game 3 out of 4. Let's see if we can update these scores here. Yeah, it was really interesting to see the sort of difference in play styles. The one thing that struck me was the call rates. Players like Henry and Daniel were calling pretty early on for their Yakuhai, whereas Dave was definitely staying close to a lot of situations where many players would open, and was seemingly getting pretty rewarded for it as well. A lot of large hands being built, even if they didn't all come out as winners, definitely threatening, and finished with the second place. It's very nice. Looks like we'll have to get in a manual refresh of the stats.
Now that minus 42 is gonna hurt Henry's position a lot. And it drops him all the way down to 18th.
Which is
Which isn't horrible.
Yeah.
Like, you're still just 80 points away from promotion. Like, with 3 sessions to go, you still definitely have a shot, but you were definitely feeling better at 40.
right. Yeah, at least you're still positive. So, with one game remaining, maybe you can make up some of these points and move into session 4 in reasonable position. And
Daniel
Daniel,
now in first.
yeah, all the way at the top. For a moment there, I thought Dave had taken second, but I realized there's 2 Daves in B3 currently.
Dave B and Dave C. Yes, it looks like
Looks like they have yet to start, actually.
yeah,
Still.
still waiting around.
So on extended break. Maybe we'll get a chance to look at the B3 stats in the meantime.
Let's see. I want to see. No, they're win. Okay. I am desperate to know. Every division we've looked at has a win rate of like 24% or higher. Where is this 22 coming from? Someone has to be in the dumps. Who is it?
Okay, so
Or is it like not updated?
we've looked at B3, B2,
A1.
A1. So we're missing A2 and B1.
Yeah,
B1.
A2 and B1. But like, I mean, because B3 is so large and B2 is, not small either. Like, I mean, I feel like they both have to be sub 20.
We have the power. We can figure this out. Give me I know an A2 player. All right, we'll do a quick adjustment here.
I'm just so curious.
Loading stats. So the A2.
This is the problem. A2's 22.2.
That's
I mean, that's
above.
right at average.
So I guess it's B1 then. Do you know a player from B1?
I can know a player from B1.
I think
How about Andrew
Edwinson.
R?
Okay. I think I've got Edwin already up, so. If this doesn't work, we will certainly switch.
Oh yeah, Edwin's in 12th. Okay, nope, they're just wrong. It's just wrong.
Yeah, there's no way the average of all the divisions can be above the league average, right?
Right, we're both mathematicians. This is mathematically impossible, surely.
So perhaps there are a few missing games from the stats for the league average.
Someone contact Chase. This is an issue of the utmost importance.
The mathematicians demand a response.
So someone get the computer scientist in here. Someone's been cheating on their math test. I don't like this.
Well, let's swap back. Let's see who the player I missed was. That would be Dave. And I believe the match has started, so we're in the 5-minute delay period. So any second now, we will be
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay.
What's a normal Ricci rate? Like, I feel like whenever I play ladder, like the stats of the people I see in ladder are just so absolutely absurd that I don't get a good feel for it. It looks like it upper teens, low 20s.
Yeah, I actually haven't played ladder in so long. I don't know what those stats are. But that seems about right. A call rate maybe like 30 to 40%. Which would leave about 40% of the hands that you're not calling or open or declaring Ricci on.
Let's see. God, how many? Usually we mostly just see EVs over 1,000.
Like 1 player, 2 players.
Right. But 5? I mean, well, there's 36 people in B3, so but still, like, those deal-in rates, like, Like we were having the same conversation when we were looking at B2, where there were 4 people with single digits. Here we see another 4 people with single digits, but one of them's in 20th at 9.8, but then 7.5, 7.3, 7.8. Like that is just like clown behavior, ability of not dealing in.
Yeah, that's great. And especially when your win rates in the mid to upper 20s, that's just amazing. And
Yeah,
no surprise to see those players are in the promotion zone.
Oh yeah, I had a steady ranked deal in of 8% for a long time, but only because my win rate was 19%. Those did not go together super well. When you
Yeah.
get 7% and 25 though.
Yeah, definitely a big reason why that EV is so large.
God, and look at 1,929 average deal in,
They deal into nothing.
less than 2 Han.
Yeah,
What?
that's crazy. Very disciplined player by the looks of it, but still, despite that discipline, managing a 24.8, rather 26% win rate is incredible.
Yeah, Red Zone confirming in the chat that what we had guessed is basically right. Average Ricci and Jade Room on Mahjong Soul is 18.82%. Average call rate in Jade Room and Mahjong Soul is 32.16%. So low 30s call, upper teens Ricci. And now a game starts.
Yeah, I heard the gong. I know we have to move in.
I don't get to hear the gong. You're cheating.
It's okay. It's very loud, so you're probably just saving your ears from damage later on. Yeah, Henry, first dealer. Dave to the right. Jay across the table. And Daniel's to the left. As starting dealer, how happy are you with this hand?
Very happy now that I've got that Haku pawn. Now we've got a perfect Ishanten.
Great. So it will be a one-hand hand, most likely, and a dealer repeat, unless the other players have anything to say about this. And the players who seem the closest may be Toyman and the player to the left, Daniel. Well, we'll put that on hold. Tenpai. The typical weight would be the 2-5 pin here, discarding the 3 pin, and that's exactly what Henry takes.
So here's my question for you, Nathaniel. Someone discards 7-so. Do you pawn it, take a temporary Pinzu Tanki, and go for the Honitsu?
I might even discard the Pinzutel after drawing the 8.
Dong.
But it turns out that the original Tenpai was taken. And we see the Roan for the 1500 and the dealer repeat. What do you think about that? I do like being greedy. 1500 versus 58. That's a pretty big swing.
I feel like if I had if my Sosu tiles were more in the middle, I would have felt better about it. Because then I feel like it's more likely I will get back to Tenpai quickly. My concern with switching to Honitsu is the 4 to 5 turns it might take me to get back to Tenpai is going to be just what someone needed to catch up.
Yeah, I was thinking, if you retain the 8-so there, you could even call Puln and end up on a 9-so Tanki with, 3 of the 7s, 3 of the 8s in your own hand for Toy Toy.
Well, it'd be 8-so, 9-so, really.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
right.
I actually won a hand with exactly that weight in Sanmei the other day.
Oh, that's
Pull
great.
the 8, weight on 8-9 Tanki, and then when someone deals in with the 8, and they're like, "What on earth is this?" But we have a South Pawn for Dave. That is the Seat Wind.
Just after I talk about how Dave doesn't open as frequently for these Yakuhai, just immediately grabs it away.
Well, Dave has the highest call rate at the table.
That's interesting. Yeah, not willing to call early for that Honitsu hand in the last game, but with the high call rate in general. And, well, 2-way from Tenpai here.
Chi.
Yi Shantan now. Diankan, Dianmen waits here. Dealer hand not bad either. 2 completed shapes already. A pair on Yamen. And a nice floater in the 6-so. You'd ideally draw around that 6-so, perhaps with a 5-so. And discard the 8-9
and the 5-so have already been discarded.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you're right. Oh, you know what? I bet the 4-so was cut first. The 5-so was drawn afterwards. And then, in fear of Furiten, discarded as well. Which is a bit unfortunate because there was a world for 4, 5, 6 Sanshoku. And Tanya as well would have been juicy.
Yeah, this is one of those times where, because the 5-6 were in the hand at the same time, even with the 4-so in the discards, I still would have discarded the 8-9 Pinchan first. Even though there's a chance of Furiton, there's still so much value that can be had. The potential to open for Tanyao. Like I really like that 5/6 shape, even with the Furiton opportunities.
As it is, Dave will now call a third time for Tempai, waiting on the 3 Mon. And this is good for a few reasons. For one, it's your classic Suji trap, although that is, less visible when you are open. But for 2, you've got the chance to incorporate the door into your hand now. If you draw the 1 Mon,
Chi.
you can discard the 4 and increase your value by 1 Han. And we see Henry with the Chi, now Tempai for Tanyao, choosing the Tonki 8-pin. It's quite interesting. Of course, if you discard the 8-pin instead, you're waiting 3/6/9, you cannot win on the 9. Turns out to pay off. We will absolutely take another 1 on hand.
I love this. We've joked about it in the past. How many Tanyaos do you have to win consecutively to equal a Yakuman? And Henry is showing us 2 1,500-point hands.
Well, Ishanten, this is not going to be a Tanyao.
Right. Double East would get in the way.
Yeah.
And Adora.
Of course, you would call the East here and swap your Ishanten for a different Ishanten. Oh.
Ooh.
You wonder about the Honitsu here, or just the Itsu is fine too.
Yeah. And it's very convenient when you can just cut a bad shape elsewhere while you kind of hedge.
Right. Still, the double East would be so juicy if you can find it.
The Hanku, the Hanko, the on the left we see a bunch of white stuff in Daniel's hand.
The Anko of Haku.
There we go. Ooh, and that Tumon is such a great fill. So is going to be hard to race Daniel there for Henry, since he can also call.
Yeah. So interesting for Henry. Now drawing the 7, so you have all the shapes you need for Honitsu. In fact, they're not
need those 3/4.
Yeah, they're almost not ideal shapes because you're likely to be using the East as your pair, and you really don't want to do that.
Chi.
This call is a bit awkward, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you discard the 3-so, you have a Yakulas Tenpai. Maybe you just discard 2-so or 4-so, have the 3-so be your pair, and then you can still call the East.
Yeah.
Sevenmon's gonna deal into Dave, though.
Gets the Sanshoku as well, with the 2/3/4. So that actually ends up being a 3-Han hand, slightly more expensive than you'd expect with just some Tanyao calls.
But tied with Henry. What? Hold on. Anko of Haku with a Hatsu pair on the right. Anko of 8-pin with a 9-pin pair for Toyman.
Interesting.
That tripped me out.
And Dora in dealer's hand with some really nice Tanyao tiles. Could even draw into Ipeko Pinfu Dora too. Except we can see where all the 8s are. So forget that thought. But even so, it's looking really nice for Dave. And now we'll see if Jay likes the idea of Honitsu. When you start with the Anko and you have a pair of another set of dragons, you really start to wonder if Honitsu is possible. Yakuhai, Honitsu is already a Mangan. It's like a very classic way to find your 8,000 points of value.
And would be enough for first.
Yeah, just barely. And so Jay...
Although I don't tend to think too much about like relative position before like East 4. Just because points are moving around so much. Really, it's just how far away am I? How many points can I get?
Ooh. Now, interesting move by Daniel across the table. Probably regretting that 5-so cut early after drawing into the Anko of the 9-pin. Wants to shift to Toy here.
It would be really nice to pawn the pay and then have Sha Tonki.
Yeah, that would be so sweet. Even though Sha is your wind, it's once cut. We're going to see a Chi into Tenpai here from Jay. So we have our Mangan Tenpai waiting on the 8-so, 3-so.
3 of those left all in the wall.
Chi.
Dave gets a move on as well. Tenpai for Tanya Dora 1, 2,900
there it
points.
is.
Oh, that's got to come out most
Don't.
likely. Some quick hitting hands here to start. All open so far.
Dealers getting their repeats. Wow, this is a beautiful starting hand for. It looks kind of like a mess at
Boom.
first,
Yeah, but
but I mean,
all the blocks are
you
there,
think-
right?
yeah, you have got 2 Ryanmen, a shot at Ipeco.
Other players, though, pushing forward. We see, of course, the Call of the West across the table, but that hand actually looks pretty far from completion. Even
Yeah,
just
that's one of those desperation calls where you're like, this hand will never, ever, ever reach Tenpai unless I call everything.
and might be trying to shift this into Honitsu to get a little bit of extra value. That would be in the door suit as well. That does look
God,
like that's
look
the
at-
play.
Look at Henry's hand.
Yeah, this one. Look. Oh, dropping the Yamen shape. Is this a push for Chinitsu?
It looks like it.
That is gutsy. It does take a little bit longer to finish that, but is drawing pin tiles, so maybe it's out there. And it looks like 3 players are collecting pin tiles.
Yeah, 2 Honitsus and a Chinitsu. They are, at some point, they're gonna get stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's probably technically possible for 2 Honitsus and a Chinitsu to be Tenpai at the same time, maybe?
There are 36 peen tiles. So, I mean, 14 times 3 is 42. That's too much.
Well, if we
Oh, but
include
you put
Honitsus,
honors.
yeah.
But
Each.
you have honors. So,
So
yeah, of course,
definitely
it's
possible.
possible.
And here we
But
see a
we're just
Ricci.
gonna- Yeah, just Tanyao Dora 1.
It's not bad. Ricci Tanya Dora for 5,200.
Yeah, both of those are only for Fu.
Even with a Tsumo, wouldn't be enough to bump it over the mark.
Ooh, more Pinzu.
Toyman also has to wonder whether they're how far they can push their hand, especially with a 6-0 now being drawn.
There's a Forso.
Definitely not looking safe. And yeah, 3 pin is an indication that Jay is done with his hand.
The problem is Jay's going to have a hard time finding safe tiles. I mean, the East is going to be... Oh, the Haku was just discarded. Chun just discarded. So that's going to help Jay a lot. Oh, and now you have 4 East.
Yeah.
Jay's good for the rest of time.
And now the question is, can Dave put something together? Has discarded the 1-mon twice, and the tune has now been cleared. Can you find your way back into a Tanyao Tenpai? Because it doesn't look like Dave really wants to discard these So tiles right now. So if you can draw... Oh, well,
Subo.
Yeah.
Sumo.
so much for that thought. Ricci, Tsumo, Tanyao Dora's Mongon minimum. No Ura, so Mongon confirmed. And a nice pickup for Henry. This is exactly what he wanted after that last game.
It'd be very easy to push Dave underneath 30k unless he gets some sort of sushi ordering up rolls over there on the left.
And yeah, we see 2 pairs, the North and the West in hand already, and then singletons at the East and the South. South twice around the table, one to the right, one across. Now we might see Daniel hold on to that a bit, but I'm not sure Henry will. It comes out right
there it
away.
goes.
And then the question is, will Daniel follow?
All right, Daniel, hold the South for us just so we can see the sushi. I'm sorry that your South has to be a sacrifice to the cause. 2 Hatsu in hand for dealer J, though. None elsewhere. 2
Oh.
Chun for Daniel.
Uncle Pole for Jay, promising as well. So this hand only 2 tiles away from Tenpai with good shapes. Oh wait, I misread which tile that so was, so we're actually Ishanten, technically.
Sushi actually still not dead for Dave. Since you can get a pair of the South.
It's funny, Dave was kind of hedging the sushi, the Shou sushi, as well as kokushi, as well as honitsu. And now is finally committed to dropping the Kokushi chance.
Which makes sense. But is headed towards the Honitsu.
It still has Chanta chance as well.
If you get the pick up the 3-pin, say.
Chi.
J. Still Ishan 10, now picking up the 8
Boom.
pin. This is kind of a decision point, right?
Yeah, well, sushi's impossible at this point
Yeah,
now that 2
2
east
east cut.
and 2 souths have been cut.
So decision still pretty easy. We'll drop one of those wins. Still hedge the Chanta and the Honitsu. And now the decision is made for the Honitsu. To the right, Daniel Otozuke looks like for the Chun. Still twice, well, once in the wall and once being held by Henry. Perhaps understanding that Dave is doing something strange and just doesn't want to feed that. But here goes the Chun.
Boom.
It is
The
called.
Hatsu come out now. No, it does not.
And maybe Daniel also with the same recognition. Hatsu might not be such a great discard at this point. And also might just be trying to build up some more value. I mean, the Hatsu hasn't been discarded at all, and you need a pair. Why not the Hatsu as your pair? Now it pairs up the 8, and
Boom.
the Hatsu does come out now. So we will find Tenpai for J. Hatsudora 1.
Boom.
Itsumo, you have enough food to bump it up. From the 29 to the 39.
3 of those left in the wall.
Ooh, switch the weight.
Hmm.
You can go 5-8, you could go 6-9, or you could stick with this Shampoo.
I mean, you could even go 7-pin.
Besides for the 6-9, even though it's twice cut. Oh, that's a beautiful draw for Daniel. If you can pass the 6-so, and it will pass. Tenpai on the 4-7.
7-mon.
It's another Mon tile for Dave. Has the save Haku.
Henry's Ishan 10 as well.
We can see Daniel hesitating on these discards. Doesn't want to really deal in, because this hand is only
Sumo.
worth 1,000
Oh,
points.
there it is!
And we'll see another dealer repeat. We've had a lot of dealer repeats in this game so far.
Every single dealer has gotten at least 1 repeat up until this point. And including this point. And instantly Pinchon fill in.
It's so beautiful when you get that. You look at your starting hand, you're like, oh no, there's a Penchon, and then your first tile is the fill. It's just such a good feeling.
And then across the way, Henry with Haku Hatsu.
Boom.
But the 2 tunes have been cut already, so no more than Shosangen possible. Still, Honitsu could be the play. And we've seen that before. Yakuhai Honitsu for the Mangan. Dave's hand kind of coming together here. Just a few too many pairs, and actually discards away from the 3-pin right away.
I mean, with one of those pairs being the Dora.
Right.
I almost wonder about discarding 8-so for that reason.
Yeah, I was
knowing that you
wondering the
don't really
same
want
thing.
to cut.
I guess there is a chance. I was trying to think of, like, can you end up with Sanshoku? Can you end up with Junchan Sanshoku Dora 1? Probably a little bit difficult.
Ooh. Well, I mean, if you're going Sanshoku Junchan, really you could go Sanshoku Junchan Dora 2 if you end up with like 7, 8, 9, 9, 9.
Yeah, why not Dora 3 while we're at it?
Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9.
Just all the 9s.
The classic hand.
J here, Ishan 10 for Richi Dora 1. Does pull in the 7-so, so that means he can use the Dora in this shape. The right, Daniel still working on a classic Richi or just Tanyao, depending on what comes his way. It should be noted, Henry across the table did discard the 6 and the 9 mon, so it doesn't look like a Honitsu's in play here.
Well,
Might change
Discard
your
3 mon
mind.
for Tenpai. Nope. Goes
No.
for the Honitsu.
Does want it. And now you think maybe I want that 6 mon back.
Each.
Although
and
this
here's a
could be
reach.
deceptive. Oh, and that was the perfect tile.
So
too.
good.
It's the Pinfu Dora 1. 1 mon, 4 mon wait. Still 5 left in the wall.
Yeah, Dave finds the 7-9 pin. Sorry, to discard. Still really wants to win this hand with the 2 Dora, and I think if you draw a third, you really are pushing for it. Even against a dealer reach. This is Ishan 10 for... Oh, how many tunes were out? That was the third. So yeah, the tune wasn't going to end up working out for the Shosangen. I had visions of like Honitsu, Toi Toi, Shosangen, Yakuhai, Yakuhai floating in my head, but not possible here.
Or so.
That's Tenpai.
That is
Oh!
Tenpai. Oh! We had the same reaction. There's the one so sumo, though.
Reached Sumo Pink Dora. No Una, so 78 pickup for Jay.
Oh,
That's so funny. We're like, oh, the Honitsu, and you can still get Toi Toi on the 3 mon. It's a 1-3-4 wait, but Henry wanted to lock in that Toi Toi.
well, the Forso also, like, I don't know, that it wasn't Suji or anything, so it wasn't a super safe tile.
Right.
but
And maybe
Still, Haku Hatsu Chun.
this
starting
is
with more of them
yeah,
this
this
time.
is a step farther. Only 1 tune cut this time. So wait, I've switched dealer. We were not supposed to do that. Let's go back. Let's go right back to Jay. Like
I am determined to see a Yakuman this game.
we've been close. We've had 2 Suanko Ishanten. I think we had a Suanko Tenpai actually. Suanko Tenpai, Suanko Ishanten.
We had a Suanko Tenpai yesterday as well.
Yeah.
On the Sanbaimon. There's the first Dragon Call. We're ditching the Pinzu, going for the Honitsu. Honitsu Daisangen. That's a great draw though on the left for Dave.
Yeah, Honitsu Daisangen Dora 1. I'll Tensho. Let's go. Thinking about cheating this for the 1-2-3 Sanchoku, especially with the call to your right. What looks like it looks like a Honitsu in the So, right? So, and the Dora indicator is the 3 So. How frequently are you going to see another 3 So? I mean, it doesn't seem very likely. And so Jay does make the call. However, draws the wrong side. I like this play.
Yeah, you have to discard the 4 peens so that you don't get stuck later when you need to chi the 1 peen.
Yeah, let's give an example.
If you chi the 1 peen, then you aren't going to be able to discard the 4 peen because you can't slide shapes. Any tile that would finish the shape of the 2 tiles from your hand used in the call cannot be discarded. So if you chi on the 2-3, you cannot discard a 1 or a 4. If you chi on 4-6, you cannot discard a 5.
But we see the call to the right from Daniel of the Hatsu. And
And
now,
only 1 tune discarded.
yeah, alarm bell's ringing. The 1 pin does come out. So no 3-10 issues for Jay. 4-7 So wait to end the scary hand. Who wants to discard So, though?
Henry knows the 9 so safe.
Yeah, there's no worry. It's Sotogawa, right? No worries.
It's Sotogawa.
to the dealer at least. Yeah, definitely a little. Oh, the tune too. Just absolutely no fear from Henry.
They don't have it. Yeet. And they were right. Show Sangen the most Daniel can get now.
Does kind of want a pair for this hand, so isn't a bad wait.
I mean, you take it.
We've seen
Cannot get to Tenpai.
Yeah, we've seen a decent number of Shosangen in this league so far.
Speak for
Ooh.
yourself. I don't know if I've seen any.
Well, I am kind of speaking for myself. I played.
Oh no! I'm sure Daniel called Chi on that 6-0, but Henry palmed it.
Ends the dreams.
Oh my god!
Henry is just so brutal this game. He just does not care.
And now it's Tenpai for 2 So, 5 So, and Dave on the left. Every single So tile deals in.
Oh goodness, will we see? It just feels like this is Henry's hand to win, the way it's been played. The other tune comes out, and it's safe, yeah. We cleared that earlier. After those first few calls, Daniel has not been able to draw much in the way of so tiles. Only that 8-so, really. And of course, another door, but what good is that door if you can't draw any of the surrounding tiles?
Another red Sozu for Dave. Tosses the only safe so in the hand.
Okay, we're only 6 tiles left, but Daniel might find Tenpai in such a way that you have to drop the 5-so. Doesn't find it here, but we'll have one more draw. Dave will bow out gracefully. Jay, same. You can drop the 8-so here.
Yeah, 8-so's fine.
And so it will just be Jay and Henry who have the Tenpai here. I guess since that's not Tenpai, the one's so might have been better. But in the end, no harm, no foul. Despite the scary nature of that hand, things end peacefully. And it will be Jay to continue this dealership 3-0 now.
I do believe this is the final hand of a full Hanchan. I think this is our 8th hand.
8 hands, but we're in East 3.
Yep.
Speaking of the East, a pair to the right. That looks like a fairly cheap hand, but just East Dora 1. And 1 hanging out in Jay's hand. We'll probably hold on to that a little bit longer than any of the other players might.
East Dora 1, Homba 3. Like, that 900 points is not valueless.
Yeah, it makes it feel like your dealer. You know, you win 2 Han, but you get 2,900. As it is, not amazing hands for anybody, really. I mean, if you look to the left, Dave has a Dora and an Anko the 5-pin, which looks great. Okay, well, there's a connector tile, so
that helps.
That helps a little bit. Do you see the Itsu here? The shapes are there.
I see the potential for it. I probably would have tossed Haku.
Well, now that the second Haku has come out, we might see it.
Well, okay, we're getting closer to the Itsu.
Yeah, there is a world where we even build into Honitsu here, so Haku's still useful in that sense.
You can still get cheat Itsu.
Oh, there's a Hatsu.
The second Hatsu, great. Yeah, the Haku makes sense now. Ooh, we have an Anko now on the right of the 6-so.
So if you can reach you with this hand, with that 6-so Anko in the east, you could get you could actually score some value. And Dave's going for it. Going for that Honitsu.
And actually, if Dave gets the 9-ping, then we have Honitsu Itsu. Dora 1.
Each.
And there's the Richi.
Yeah, there's the 9-pin. This is a tricky one, too. East, 2-mon, Shampom. Jay had never discarded that East, so a bit of a dangerous tile in hand, but so far away from Tenpai, I don't think Jay's even going to try for this.
Yeah, and it's last place that's called this Richi. Really don't want to deal in here.
Sumo.
Oh, just Sumo. Not the tile you were looking for, but you'll take anything at this point. Reach Sumo Dora. Una, make that a Mangan. That's a great pickup for Daniel.
And now Daniel in third. That pushes Dave into last.
Yeah, incredible. It really looked like Dave was the one who had the value there, but Daniel found a way. And what a starting Hypai.
Whoa.
East pair, that's double East. Chun pair. And another pair in the bond tiles. Great shapes all around. Diankan, Dianmen.
But a lot of fast hands around the table. Hatsu pair for Dave across the way. Haku pair for Jay on the left.
Might be a battle to see who can call the fastest.
Battle of the Pongcats.
In this case, Henry, the only player who does not have a callable hand, will be aiming for Richi Pinfu, which is not bad. Is 2 away from Tenpai with great shapes. All Yamen shapes. It's wonderful. Ishanten now.
The double tone. The first to act. Haku. Will it be called? Yes. Hatsu held, though, so Dave does not get to join the Pon party.
Yeah, presumably that Hatsu leaving soon. Interesting choice here. You could work your way towards a 5-6-7 Sanchoku, but no,
This
just
is kind of awkward.
we'll rely on the Chun here a little bit and retain the Diamond shapes. You know, you could discard the 9-pin first, and then if
Leave
you
it.
fill the Kanchan later, discard the like 2-mon.
Yeah, just leave the option open. We do have the Hatsu Pon now.
Oh, you can even cheat here.
Do you take it?
1
Yep. Toss one of your Rionman? Alright, tossing 6-0, 7-so.
Wants the extra value here with the Chun.
And well, I would have taken the 2-mon pawn. I know you want the extra value on the tune, but with everybody calling,
Yeah.
like being Tenpai is just so valuable. For example, we do have a 5-pin, 8-pin Tenpai on the right from Henry, staying Dama.
You had an interesting move here.
1
Perhaps worried about the fact that everyone is opening so aggressively that maybe one of them has an Anko of Dora to accompany their Yakuhai. But finds the Sumo.
相撲
Sumo.
So not the most expensive Sumo, but it will move the dealership around. I think that means Daniel is the only player who did not get a dealer repeat.
That is true.
So we'll move into South 1. This is another East pair for dealer, but this time not double East. Chun is the door, and there is one in hand. Wow, these draws. Oh, just throw the door out right away. And there are different opinions on how to handle Dragon Door like that. Some players like to discard it as soon as possible. Others try to work it into their hand, if at all possible. And if it gets late enough, decide to just never discard it and fold altogether.
I feel like I always make my decision based on what my blocks look like. Henry had 5 set blocks. Like 3 of them were pairs, but like with the 6-0 being one of them, you kind of expect that more. I mean, it ended up being a pawn early, but you really expect it to become a run eventually. So you don't need another block. So might as well toss it early, keep your advantage as dealer with a fast hand, and give everyone else less time to collect on it since you don't need it.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit, it is actually a little bit unfortunate that East has now become Mochi Mochi across the table with Jay, and that is
Jay's
going
going
to,
Chi-Toy.
yeah, that's going to make this hand
Well,
basically impossible to complete as dealer.
Anko of 6-pin now, so doesn't have to be Chi-Toy.
Regardless, still unlikely to discard the East. But we would love to see another Suanko Yushanten or Tenpai even. And on the left, Daniel here going for a Honitsu is the only player to hold the Chun in hand, and really the only player who can actually use it outside of the Chi-Toy across the table.
Yakulas Tenpai for Henry, waiting. So it's 4-pin, 7-pin that you see lit up. Will not win. And there's Furton. But you could just call the East, discard 5-pin or 6-pin, and you're out of Furton. Not a big deal.
This is a funny Tenpai. It does have a Yaku on the right for Dave, but cannot actually win because there are no more 8-pins left in the game.
All gone.
So now we'll switch to a Tonki Wade and be very happy. Oh, likes the 7. That is tricky.
2 of those left in the wall.
Of course, you don't want the 9 because there are no more of those in the game either.
Oh, I really like the 1-pin. You can see 3 2-pin cut. It's going to be so hard to use the 1-pin.
1
And we can even see the Honitsu to the left. So you know that player will be dropping all the pin tiles. Oh, and there's the 1.
There it is.
Might hold on to this a little bit. No, just throws it right out.
Hey, 3-5-6.
Love to see that. And we see all the tiles lighting up. 3-6, actually not that great. Only 1 3-pin left in the wall, but we'll expect to see the 5-6. One of the 2 leave Henry's
Only
hand
1-5.
presently.
Like we can see all the 6s.
4
Oh wow, it comes out.
Yeah, it had to if Henry had a chance of winning this hand. And so the 2 Han hand, the non, double south. They will move us forward. Now the rounds are moving a little bit faster. No more dealer repeats.
Everyone just got tired and agreed this is enough.
Into South 2, Dave's dealership. Bit of a sloppy hand here. penchant, some floaters, some awkward lone honors. We'll be hoping to draw some better blocks. To the right, this looks a bit better for your standard. Ricci with a Dora. Maybe even can snag a Pifu if you draw the 3-mon. Across the table, Daniel working. Yeah, that's another sloppy hand. This really needs to get some good draws in order to have a chance. On the left, Henry probably the best hand here as far as classic hands go. A lot of middle tiles. Can switch this into a Tanyo. It has a Dora.
Dave now has 2 Yakuhai pairs.
Yeah, those are some nice
Golden
draws.
Haku. And there's one.
Technically 2 away from Tenpai here and can call for it as well. The most awkward shape, of course, is the 1-2 So Penchan, with the 3 So being the Dora indicator, usually a pretty hard tile to find. I wonder if you'll even throw the 1-2 away in favor of this East. No, still likes the East cut here. It is interesting, you know, we're in the South round. The East is not useful for any of the players really at this table, except for yourself. And you haven't seen it yet. So either it's in the wall or it's in one of the closed players' hands you'd expect. Unless you think Daniel is going for a Toy.
3 So wait for Dave. Jay's been Ishanten for a while over there and has just gotten better and better. Now really thinking about this 5-peen. Discards the 2-mon first.
And there's your Tenpai.
Each.
All right.
Ricci.
Ricci Dora 1. Four tiles left in wall. You know, every time Jay has called Ricci, there has been at least 3 of the tiles left in the wall. Often it's been more in the wall than not in the wall. And I'm just really curious if that's purposeful. Like, has Jay been building hands on purpose that this happens?
Yeah, right?
The magic of being 8-dan.
Right.
And Australian.
Ricci Tsumodora. You know, I'm a bit jealous. I had a couple games earlier this season where I checked the logs and like multiple times had 0 tiles left in the wall for my Ricci's. It's like, wait, this isn't normal, is it? Am I just getting unlucky? Maybe I just don't know how to build hands properly.
Right, that's what I think every single time it happens. This, not an incredibly difficult hand to build for Jay. I think even if we were, even not being 8-dan, I think we could handle this one.
Yeah, I think there's some still subtle decisions that you're going to have to make here, especially with all the pairs in this hand. Do you retain the 7-mon? Do you like the floating 6 So? Do you even like this 1-2 block that you've created? I'm very curious to see how Jay will play this out. Yeah, throws away the 1.
Yeah.
Still retaining all the pairs. There's a chance with 4 pairs currently that you could turn this into a Chitoy.
Ooh, an Anko on the left.
That is a lot of
There's
pairs
5
too.
pairs. All right, keeping the Anko and oh, there's the 5th pair for Jay.
So 2 players now with Chitoy alert. Yeah, doesn't want it. Feels like it has a better chance of building this hand as a normal one. And maybe you feel more pressure to build a normal hand as dealer. Because a lot of times you can get stuck in Ishan 10 when you're trying to build Chitoy. You're forced to draw it yourself. Whereas if you build a more normal hand, you can at least call from other players and bail yourself out if you feel the need to.
Suanko Ishanten on the left from Dave.
Oh, that's 6.
Are we finally going to get our Yakuman? I've been demanding it all night. This table is required to give.
1-mon, still in the wall. 5-pin, still in the wall. 4 So,
There it is.
still in the wall.
There's Tenpai. Calling Ricci.
And these players are good defensive players. There's a very real chance we see a Tsumo here.
Suanko, Dora 2.
Let's go. Shaw across the table. That's Tenpai.
Oh! There it is! Pops him up for the Suanko!
We got our Yakuman finally. You called it,
Same
Tucker.
We've been teased all night. This was like our fourth Suanko attempt.
On
and
the
it
Dora.
finally comes together. And now we're going into all last. And that Sumo dropped 2 players below 30K. So not only is that a positive 32,000 points for Dave, that also is an extra 5,000 in UMA because now the other 3 players are in a dire situation.
Oh, that is incredible. I just love you called it too. And the last Forso was the Uda indicator, so there's actually only 3 tiles left in the wall that we could see.
Oh my god.
I love that it was the Dora tile too.
That always makes it so nice.
Oh man, well Daniel's got a good hand here. Already 2 away from Tenpai for Richie Pinfu. But, I mean, that's a stark contrast to the 32,000 that we just saw. Anything counts at this point.
Right, you need those repeats if you want to get back above 30K.
Pairs up the 8. There's a world where you can turn this into Tanyao now. But still, your angle is for the Richie Pinfu.
Yeah, it's really hard to go for the Tanya when you've got the 2-3 and the 7-8 shapes. It's so easy to end up for a 10 or Otozuke.
Right. And to the right, Henry is the closest player to 30,000, to getting another positive score outside of Dave. The issue is, how are you going to make 2,400 out of this? You just need 2 Han here, 2 and 40. There's the pair of Haku in hand, so perhaps you don't call the Haku. Instead, declare the Richie and win on the Haku. Across the table, Dave just wants to lock in these points and maybe increase a little bit more, take a little bit more home. To the left, Jay just trying to confirm 3rd place or maybe even snipe 2nd. His hand doesn't look like it's going to be anything more than a Mongon, potentially. Unless you hit some 8-pin Uda. Oh, Haku drawn!
Oh, that's wonderful.
This is Tenpai. It's just the 6-pin.
Each.
Yeah, Henry will take it, though. So this is exactly enough. Richie Haku, you don't even need Uda here. You just need to win. And for Jay, this is your direct competition in terms of 2nd place is willing to push the 2-mon against this and maybe even the 4 if Tenpai is reached. Speaking of reaching Tenpai, Daniel now has a choice. Which Diamond do you want to discard? Maybe the 3-so, 2-so. No, instead chooses the 6-5. Discarding the 2 and 3-so guarantees you'll get Tanya, but
Each.
well, I guess this was better. You found Tenpai and you didn't deal in. So
Yeah,
Richie
and
Pinfu.
The 1-so 4-so did feel good. Like
Yeah.
I liked the chance of those tiles coming into hand. The 5-pin 8-pin though, not a great weight. How many do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 left in the wall.
Yeah,
1 6-pin left.
So 2 versus 1, still the dealer with a slight edge here. But you know the wall doesn't always cooperate with the statistics. And
I
there's-
have found Mahjong very rarely does any cooperating whatsoever.
There's one of those 8-pin draws, so or rather 8 pins drawn. Now 1 versus 1, the last 5-pin versus the last 6-pin. And it's pretty clear that at least the Mon is a safe suit, and the pin is the most dangerous suit.
Jay really thinking here.
Yeah, not in a super good position. The 3-mon isn't that... 3-mon is Genbutsu, right?
Yeah, and 3-so is
3-so is
Genbutsu.
also Genbutsu, so just deciding which way to go with this.
Perhaps still thinking of K10.
That Dora came out from the dealer Richie, so now that gives Dave 2 safe tiles that aren't usually safe. And that is K10 found, waiting on the 7-pin. Ooh, if you want to keep Tenpai, you have to either drop one of the winning tiles or the 3, and decides none of the Pinzu are worth dropping here. So, safe, in the sense that you haven't dealt in, but you haven't picked up any points either, and now only 100 points away from 4th place for Jay.
1 Homba, 2 Ricci sticks. Any win now, does not matter what it is, will be enough to get Henry over 30K.
It's just a matter of building as fast as you can. looking at Henry's hand, doesn't look the speediest, but you could even just draw into Tanyao and start calling your way to the victory. And when one player wins a Yakuman, usually second place is a victory.
It's not like no one else's hand at the table is fast. Henry might have the biggest head start here.
Yeah, just with the ability to go fast, because it's not something that Daniel really wants to do as dealer, wants to build up their own hand. But I mean, at least as dealer, you can go fast and get a repeat. Jay also might have some incentive to speed up his own hand if he thinks second place is too difficult and wants to confirm third.
Dave is completing shapes, but just, yeah, 3 complete runs and no other blocks. Like, how often do you see that? 4 isolated tiles and 3 runs.
I imagine Dave is probably looking at that Mon shape as a 1-3 and 4-5 shape. And of course, if you draw the 1 Mon, you can think about that as differently as your pair. And so
There's a pair.
technically, yeah, it has enough blocks here.
Good
Ishan
draws.
10. Do you just Riichi on the 2 Mon if you get something like the 3 or 6 Mon?
I get the
Early
3 or
Riichi Dora
6.
1, you're in first place by a lot.
Hmm.
Not a lot of risk.
The problem is on a bad weight, probably not. Everyone has to push.
Yeah,
So on a bad weight, I'm worried that all I'm going to be doing is feeding someone points, and I don't want to make it easier for Henry to get above 30k by helping him there.
yeah. Jake could probably fold out safely. But yeah, Henry and dealer Daniel would likely be pushing still.
Yeah, Henry's hand becoming a lot over there. That it's a really nice Ishan 10. Actually has way more value than is needed. Huh. I mean, you don't really need that third one, so.
Yeah, it has the Pinfu shapes all set up. You
Could have
ju-
just tossed to the 3 so.
just slightly more efficient. You can then draw a pair elsewhere. But
And
then
there's
you're
the
going
3.
to Riichi Nomi. Okay, we'll see. Dave doesn't want the Riichi. We'll stay close. There's a lot of upgrades here. You could even call your way into a Tanyao.
Jay also staying closed, waiting on 3 so. Also no Yaku.
So now
There
you
we
can
go.
swap the weight and stay Dama.
3 mon 8 so.
Oh, Daniel's drawn some bad tiles here.
Ooh. 3 so still doesn't actually deal in.
Yeah, finds a way to
Yeet.
dodge for now,
There's
but
Tempai for Henry.
Boom.
there's
Evan
a
the
call.
pawn.
We might
Oh,
see a Daniel versus Henry battle again.
3 mon 6 mon is the weight for Henry. So 3 mon actually could be a double roll.
6 pin. Can you push this? Yes, says Dave. Dave probably doesn't mind if Henry wins this hand, even though you lose a bit of Uma points. And you're also trying to prevent Henry from winning this hand by winning yourself. So Dave actually probably willing to push a lot here.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
If you win yourself,
That's Tempai again.
Chi.
All right, tossing the 4 pin.
yeah,
Oop.
yeah.
Do you choose right?
Oh, just avoids it altogether. Just declines the Tempai. Does not want to drop the 5-8 Suji.
Yeah, I mean it does look spooky towards Henry.
Can Jay drop the door here for Tempai again? I don't think so. Wait, door
I mean,
just came
door's
out.
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you can.
This is a 2-5-8 weight.
Oh, so 8 so could be a double roan. 2 chances at double roan here, and 8 would also be 6-7-8 Sanshoku. Daniel in a lot of trouble here. Oh, the 3 comes
Oh,
out.
the 3
Boom.
mon.
And that is mission accomplished for Henry. Ricci, Pifu, all the 6 in the middle. Be enough to move Henry into a second place that is over 30,000. So a positive finish with 7.4 for Henry. Dave, the winner, the absolute winner. Sulanko pulled way ahead with that victory. Plus 37.1. And what an impressive hand that was.
The winner, and also for tonight, my hero.
Tonight, Dave is all of ours. A hero for all of us.
That's gonna put Dave 1 spot out of promotion by 1/10 of a point. It's gonna be in 8th over Chris L by 1/10 of a point.
And we see that update come in. There it is.
Incredible.
With Dave climbing the rankings. Henry moving up a little bit here as well. Recovering some of those points. It's always nice to see.
Daniel falling out of first, but doesn't really matter.
Yeah, still in a very strong position. And there are 3 sessions left. A lot of movement yet to be had, but looking very promising for Daniel to move forward currently. And of course, the final player, Cesar on our screen that's highlighted, did not play in this game, was rather substituted by Jay, who finished 3rd in this game for a negative 17.2, will not be reflected in these standings. And so, yeah, brilliant game, brilliant Yakuma. So glad to finally catch one on stream. We've had a few in this league that we've missed, but so nice to get one. And congratulations to Dave for that. I'm sure we'll see some screenshots later on.
I feel like we're good luck for people getting Yakuman.
No,
Daniel, this isn't our first one. We
No.
watched Luz get Chinroto of all things.
Yeah, that's the one that definitely comes to mind when I think about the Yakuman that we've casted. I'm sure we've seen Kokushi or 2.
Surely. They're a dime a dozen. I play Sanma. I see Kokushi in my sleep.
Yeah, that is the last game of this table. I believe that is also the last game of the evening.
Yeah, I still gotta do laundry so I can drive to Cincinnati after school tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got to finish packing for that as well. So doing the same. Look forward to seeing you there. And also, I'm sure some of our viewers are also going to be at Cincinnati. Look forward to seeing all of you. I know some of the players we spectated tonight are going to be in Cincinnati. It's going to be a great event, I'm sure. As was the games for tonight. And of course, to all the viewers, if you enjoyed what you saw tonight and you're interested in seeing more, keep track of us on Twitter at American Ricci. I know frequently the stream times are posted there, and you can make sure to catch all the action. If you are inclined to watch some of our previous videos, see that aforementioned Chinroto or some of the other Yakuman, you can certainly catch all of those VODs on our YouTube channel at tinyurl.com/ARMLYT. And if you're interested in joining the league, you can visit our website at americanricci.org. All of those links are available on the screen. Signups are available until December 19th for the winter season. And so you still have plenty of time to do so, about a month away. And of course, if you sign up early enough frequently, there are opportunities to be called upon as a substitute, as we saw tonight. A substitute player in the league, so you can dip your toes in the water, see if you enjoy it, which I'm sure you will. It's certainly fun. I cannot wait for my league matches every time they get scheduled every week. So looking forward to seeing more registration for the winter season. I know there's already been rumors of enough people to create a beta league, which is always exciting for the newcomers.
A Gamma League, perhaps, as we were discussing on stream last night.
Absolutely. So looking forward to seeing those entries continue to come in. Yeah, any final thoughts, Tucker?
Yes, on Monday, we will be doing the mid-season review/hype stream, reviewing the first 3 sessions, getting hyped for the last 3, the final stretch. And this one is going to be particularly exciting, as we're also going to just toss out a couple of shout outs about the Cincinnati tournament. Since so many of us are going to be there, might as well say what's going on the American Ricci scene. Also, IORMC will have an update on. I'm sure we'll mention the broadcast director for that night, Jeremy, who placed first in the individual qualifiers.
Yeah, the team final will be in the morning, and the individual finals will be right after. So very eager to see how Jeremy ends up placing in those.
Oh, so those are the same day. For some reason, I thought they were happening like different weeks.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, most of the members of the team qualifiers or of the U.S. team who may have been able to play in the individuals will not actually be playing there because they will be playing in the Cincy tournament. So the timing worked out just right.
So exhausted.
I mean, there's no better reason to be exhausted than a full day of Mahjong. So
a full day of very high level competitive Mahjong.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so if you wanna get hyped for the second half of the season, which should be particularly exciting because this will in A1 will be deciding the final seat at the league championship table. So you'll definitely want to be a part of that, see how things are shaking out. Jeremy will be directing, and Korak and I will be the commentators as is tradition, even though I missed the last one. My bad. But
yeah, you will not want to miss that one. They always do such a good job hyping us up. I always feel so energized after watching it going to the second half of the season. So be sure to tune in on Monday evening for that. All right, and with that, I wish you all a good night. For Tucker, this is Nathaniel. Have a good one, everybody.